Biles for Central is the first to come into possession, and with a right foot kick, which is not his style, into the centre, and it looks as if South are going to receive the first free. In the centre of the ground, it's Clements, who is going to start off on the wing. Clements and Cox, the wingman for South Whyalla. Clements looking for the lead, but it's a pretty crowded forward line. Going in the front position, almost a mark to Rogan, but the ball down on the ground, and Cox, the wingman for South, moves in and has a shot for goal. It could be the first score of the day. In fact, it may be a goal, yes. There was a bit of a scramble in front of goal, but South have got a goal on the board through the agency of Cox. Well, what do you think of that, Doug, for a start?
Well, I think this is what Central going to have to watch out for, Harry, today, is the South have the speed, especially into the breeze. They're small men, they'll try and keep it low. They got that ball out there on their half-forward line with the handball, straight to Cox, and Cox made it sure with 6 points.
Coming back to the centre now, and the game has only been in motion about 25 seconds, and South's lead 1-0. Umpires this afternoon, John Rogers from Adelaide, and the local umpire, Ron Hannon. Bounce down now with Carlson in opposition to McIntyre. McIntyre gets the knock and got interfered with. The ball came to Stevens. Stevens tried to find Lamshed. Cox going through, being held, and there's a free against Cox for holding the ball, and the kick to be taken by Swartz, the rover for Central Whyalla. Kicks down at the forward line. Whedon out in front of Dawson, but the ball goes to ground. Azzopardi tries to come in. He also falls, and it looks as if we'll have a bounce down on the half-forward line for Central Whyalla, with South's the first goal on the board a few moments ago. Carlson again up with McIntyre got into Carlson, but they allowed the play on. A handball out by Ramsey, and he pushes it forward to Dawson. Dawson's a little bit scared to go on. He allows Balderstone to tap the ball to Biles, but this has been marked in defence by Whedon. He plays on, coming over to the boundary line. Balderstone has a chance for Centrals, but has gone out of bounds when he tried to elude Cox. And always there's the first bit of spirit for the afternoon between Cox, number 14 of South, and 10 Balderstone. Balderstone now running back to the goal front. Throw in, almost taken by Tiller, but a little bit nervous, drops the ball on the ground, and Tiller again goes after the ball, but it's another bounce for umpire Hannon. And bounce down there, and Tiller punched it out of bounds. So the game is a little bit negative, and that is the pocket which is being favoured by the wind, Doug.
Yes, the wind is coming across the oval, coming from the south, Harry. Not a great wind, but it will have an advantage of at least a couple of goals.
It could be that South's playing negative at the moment, because that knock by McIntyre didn't have a great deal of intention about it, I don't think.
I think the start of any grand final, Harry, is always pressure. Everyone's so keen. You've got the crowd roaring, and you've got the banners running through, everything that goes with the grand final, and because of this, the players do get very keen, and it can become scrambly because of it. As the game go on, you'll find that the better aspects of the football will come out.
Well, Souths are working the ball along the grandstand wing, and it's Stevens who gets the free. Stevens, ruck rover for South, looking for the lead, was going to go into the centre, but a very poor kick, almost marked by Barrett. A chance for Cox to come in. Cox has been held down on the ground, and here's South going forward again. Clements has been gripped from behind by Azzopardi, and he will get the kick. Number 9 for South, Wayne Clements, played in one or two of the combined matches, goes for the short pass. Who is he looking for? Richard Pearce or Dignan? Dignan came out on a long lead, but once again we find the ball down on the ground, and a free to South, who are getting the better of the exchanges. It's Dignan, the full forward, right out at centre half forward. The mark to be stood by Azzopardi. There's Lamshed on his own, and he's found by Dignan. Lamshed, number 6, formerly played in the Port Augusta teams, and Allison, who lost his place in the semi-final, number 48, came out and took that pass from Dignan. But he's a long way out, kicking into a wind. He nearly went for a pass to Dignan, but Dignan directed him to go for the long drive. And there's a shot by Allison. Looks pretty true, and it's going to be South's second goal. And they go to 2 goals after 5 minutes of the first quarter.
I think Central are going to have to watch out here. Last year in the grand final, West were the underdog. They took Central from the word go. They knocked Central way behind, and they never got into the game. South are starting out in the same vein today. In the first 5 minutes of play, they've had all the play in the forward area, consulting in 2 goals, and if they keep this up, you'll find that Central might be struggling to get back in if they don't start. They take too long to get into this game.
Well, it's noticeable the frees are being given to the players going for the ball, and that has been South with the front position. There's another good knock by McIntyre, picked up by Hall, goes for the handball, looking for Luber. Luber dodges and finds Stevens in the centre of the ground, up to half forward, and almost a mark by Rogan, but Rogan goes for a wild handball, taken in by Cox of South. My word, Centrals are under pressure, but Jasper Reese comes through with a left foot kick, looking for Biles. Or is there interference to Schwartz, but Schwartz plays on, and a ragged handball coming out to the boundary line. Here's Cox going in with Schwartz again. Sawford gets underneath him, handballs out to Cox. Cox is going to drive this ball into the full forward line. There's a cluster going up. Reid has been outmarked by Dignan from behind. Mark Dignan, who came back a few weeks ago after a very serious injury. Here's a shot for goal by Wayne Clements, but it's a point only, and this takes South to 2-1. They're doing all the attacking, and they're doing it almost the straight way, Doug.
2 weeks ago on this side met, South had the breeze and they just couldn't get it up there. Here they are in the first quarter of the day's grand final, kicking into the wind, and they're having all the play.
Well, here's a kick by Kane, a long one, finds Barrett. Barrett hesitates, goes down to centre half forward, looking for Dawson, and Dawson gave Whedon a bit of a nudge then. Whedon looked to the umpire, but didn't get any protection, and Dawson kicks right up to the full forward line, almost marked by Tiller. I think Tiller will get it. John Tiller, the second ruckman for Central Whyalla, and this has put Centrals into the game for the first time this afternoon, and we've gone 6 minutes with the score 2-1 to no reply by Central, but there should be something coming on the board here to Tiller. He's kicked a little bit off line, but I think it might have got through, and that is a goal to Centrals. 2 goals, yes, 2 goals, 1 to 1 goal.
For Central to play well today, Dawson must win at centre half forward. His dominance was shown then by that brilliant mark, and because of it they scored. They must have Dawson firing at centre half forward.
I noticed that Dawson went from behind, and he did give Whedon a little bit of a push forward. Whedon complained, but the game went on, and that'll give immense confidence to Dawson, who had a quiet one because of a hamstring injury in the semi-final. Knocked down, and here's McIntyre. Right, Dee McIntyre and Carlson are getting close in the body there, and here's a free, going to go to on the forward line. Looks like Carlson's been penalised. Sawford gets it, plays up looking for Dignan. Dignan's outmarked Reid. He's going to be a problem to Jasper Reid. This lad's got a lot of talent, and now his fitness is assured. He passes on quickly to Lamshed. Richards allowed Lamshed plenty of territory there, and Souths are going to go in and have another shot for goal. They're leading 2-1 to 1 goal.
Lamshed's a very big kick getter. Last week against Roona Bay, he would have picked up at least 30 kicks. They're going to have to watch him, Centrals. He's playing at centre, so he can play that roving loose game. Looks like their followers will have to pick him up to stop him controlling this game from the centre.
Here's a kick out by Kane, who's a rather surprise selection at full back, and almost a mark by Clements. In fact, he's going to get it for interference, and as a party's not too pleased with that. And the kick is to be taken on the half-forward line, but Clements goes for the short one, down on the ground, and a little bit lucky there, South, to get that haul. South still in command, the kick high in the air, and here's Dignan up again, and he's again outmarked a big pack about 30 yards from goal. And it looks threatening here, Doug, for Centrals.
Dignan's had 3 marks, Harry, 3 marks in we're only playing 8 minutes of football. Have another shot for goal. The ball's on its way.
Might it be it away? No, it's gone inside, and now Souths go to a lead of 3-2 to 1 goal by Centrals. And the goal kickers so far, Dignan has 1. He may have got 2, did he? We'll pick that up later on, but the goal to Central went to John Tiller. South opening in great style. 10 minutes gone in the first quarter, leading 3-2 to 1 goal, and they're attacking into a light breeze. And I think that McIntyre is winning the rucks. Here he goes up with Carlson, but Carlson this time taps it down. Pushed away by Stevens. Stevens goes for the left foot, and there's Luber out on his own. And the Souths are going into the forward lines again. They've got plenty of time. A short pass looking for Lamshed, but Rogan, very nervous, overrun the ball. Lamshed picks it up, looking for Bowler. Bowler's got the opportunity in the forward pocket, but there's a snap by Guider. Comes into the play for the first time, and it's a point. So that was Guider, the centre half forward, number 26 for South, over in the pocket, and that puts South to 3-3, 21 points to 1 goal, 6 points. Here's a kick by Jasper Reid. Player that hasn't come into it so far, Doug, is Kevin Keary.
I was just about to say, Harry, that South have got prominent players already. Cox, Guidra, Dignan, With Centrals, they haven't got anyone in the game at the moment. There's no one picking up kicks. We just haven't had anyone starting the domination there.
Well, there's a little bit better news for Central supporters as Jasper Reid was at the back of the pack, and he's going to kick up on the far wing looking for Azzopardi. But there's Whyalla, the ruckman for South, underneath the ball. Didn't carry to Azzopardi, and the bowler is now going to kick into the full forward area. There's Digman making a lead down at and it's Ramsey Orr got underneath it, and this has allowed Darryl Biles, the back pocket player for Centrals, to kick up into the centre of the ground where they'll have to work for it. The ball dodges past several players. There's Barrett going in. He's pulled back, loses the ball to Lamshead, and the Lamshead goes for the pass to Hall. Good illusion by Hall up to the full forward area. There's those two players again, and this time it's Dignan plays it down to Luba. Picked up by Carey in defence, and a long kick into the full forward area, and it's going to be Lamshead again out in front of Azzopardi. Pulled back by Azzopardi, but he gets the handball over to Sando. Sando is tripped, but they play on, and I think we'll have a bounce here with, it's Biles. Biles plays it in the centre of the ground looking for Schwartz. Schwartz handballs to Ramsey too far. Richards an opportunity for Central over to the half forward flank, but it's going to go pretty close to the boundary line. All bounces back fortunately for Centrals, and as Azzopardi dodges past Sando, pull back too slow, and now it's over on the far side of the ground, and the ball has gone out of bounds with Centrals trailing 1 goal to 3 goals 3, 14 minutes into the first quarter, and Centrals are using the win.
They can't get into the game, Centrals. They're just holding back, a little bit hesitant, and because of it, they're giving away frees. We haven't got anyone that's taking command out there for the red and whites, and unless someone does soon, they could find themselves well behind in the scoring area. Well,
Whedon has come away from half back and played the ball up on the top wing to Sando. Not a very good kick, but South are out in front. This is Guidera well out in front of Kevin Carey. He's going to look for the lead up on the top flank. He goes for the short one. Stanton's another South player that hasn't been Central player that hasn't been sent. Here's South attacking with Dignan. No, it's Allison. Allison, they fumbled the ball, recovered it, handballed it back, but it's taken in by Stanton for Central Whyalla. But here's Cox underneath the ball. Beats Biles to it, plays it up into the full forward area. Here's an opportunity, but Jasper Reid is going to relieve the pressure for Central Whyalla. He goes along the top flank. Richards for Central Whyalla, number 26. Steadies the play up a little with the pressure really on the Central defence. There's Carey getting over the back of Guidera and lifts the ball to his advantage, plays on, pulled back, and the kick didn't travel the full distance. Sando and Schwartz, and the ball has gone out of bounds on the far wing with 14 minutes gone in the first term. 3 goals 3 to 1 goal.
Kevin Carey at centre half backs must play a big game today in Central's role of trying to get into this game. He and Geiger should have a good clash. Geiger really turned the win their way last week, and we want to say the win to get back into the game. Carey was dominating at centre back, but Guy just took some big marks and brought South back into that game last time.
Well, here's trouble again for Central, but this time Carey forces the ball down on the ground, gives an opportunity for Schwartz. Schwartz handballs high in the air. Luba's got the play, bumped heavily, tackled by Richards, but South is still in possession. It's McIntyre having a big influence in ruck in the first quarter. Gets over the half-forward line, and young Salford's been spoiled by Rogan. There's Biles trying to come through and showing plenty of courage too. Gets the left foot up to the half-forward line. There's a chance for Darren Flew. He came into it for the first time this afternoon, but then Centrals haven't had the ball down there a great deal, and Flew was too fast for Richard Pearce, and he's within kicking distance. Darren Flew, former West Torrens footballer. And there's the kick, looks pretty deadly, and this is going to give some hope to Centrals to come back and perhaps break even with the Souths in the first quarter. 3 goals 3 to 2 goals.
That was Central's first decent play of football there from the centre. Biles broke away from the pack with the ball, kicked it well into the forward area, Flew on the lead, took a wonderful chest mark and converted for 6 points.
The 2 goals, Doug, that Centrals have got, they have gone down very quickly down through centre half forward. We could say that of the 15 minutes, probably about 12 minutes, the game has been around centre or up in the south forward line. There's Bowler with a rather unimaginative lunge at the ball, and the ball has come down onto the half forward line for Central. There's Dawson, can't get down onto it, and it's Denton fighting. He gets the handball out to to Cox. Cox is able to break away. No, he's pulled down there by Flew. An opportunity for Denton. Denton handballs into the centre to Stevens. Stevens with a short pass over to the top wing. Clements and Souths are running into the forward lines again. This is Hall, the rover. His shot right up to the full forward area, and it's punched away by Reid, but all Centrals are on the ground. Now's an opportunity for Stanton. Stanton to Kane, but Kane's not quick enough to get rid of the ball, and now Souths are coming in. A handball by Allison over to Lamshed, and I think it is Lamshed might have brought up South's fourth goal. So that was good work by South in the forward lines. Centrals were mostly on the ground, but South stood the ground.
Plenty of running players, South at the moment. They're all running. Lamshed, Cox, Guydra, Clements. Players picking up plenty of kicks in this first quarter of football.
Particularly their small men playing up on the top flank. 4 goals, 3 to 2 goals, 16 minutes into the first quarter, and we find Bowler in opposition to Tiller. Punched away by Bowler. An opportunity for Luba. He's brought down heavily. He's going to get the free. Yes, he was met pretty solidly by either Tiller or Stanton. In fact, he cannot take the kick, and it's this is a
Bowler.
Yes, Bowler. I just that's Luba on the ground. There's a short kick up to the half forward line taken by Guydra. He drops the ball. An opportunity for Greg Biles, who's got to work hard for Centrals on that wing. In fact, he's gone to the half back line to try and promote some attacks for Centrals. Up they go again, taken by number 6. That that was Schwartz the rover. Biles has been interfered with after kicking, and yes, they're going to take the ball back to Biles. There's another player that yet to be seen, Stephen Dignan for Central, Doug.
Yes, he hasn't been into the game yet either, and he's not on his own. There's quite a few Centrals yet that just aren't making their presence felt in this game.
Biles goes to the centre of the ground to Carey. Carey's got the opportunity, but he's put Stanton under the hammer here, but Stanton has lost the ball. Is that Luba up? Yes, yes. Luba's fit and playing. And Tiller has an opportunity, but he's pulled a Bowler over the neck, but Souths go on with Sawford over to the far flank, and a good mark by Richard Allison out in front of Darryl Biles. Allison kicks high into the pocket where we see Dignan getting in front of Reid. Reid down on the ground. An opportunity there for South. I think it was Guydra that picked it up. Lost the ball now. Carey. Handballs to Stanton. Stanton comes back the other way. Over towards Biles, but Allison has thrown the ball down. And Rogan's the one that's got to work hard there in opposition to Sawford. Sawford handballs back to nobody. Picked up by Ramsey. Ramsey dodges around, kicks it high in the air. Up in front of the grandstand where we see Tiller almost marked. The ball was knocked out of his hands by Bowler, and South through Hall are able to come back into the centre of the ground. A good mark by Stevens. Dodges away from Mazzapardi and kicks it high. Oh, there's nobody over there. Luba, the ball bounces in front of him. Luba's got plenty of time to turn around, dodge past Jasper Reid, sets himself a goal, and it's a point only. That was a bit of a let-off for Centrals, Doug. Coach
Inglis for Centrals must be worried at this stage. He just hasn't got any players taking command for them. South are dominating all over the ground. In fact, it's only been down in the central area, forward area twice. They're lucky enough they converted both times, but it's been a struggle after that.
Well, Kane from full-back, I see he's taking it in turns with Jasper Reid to kick out, and he's followed up this kick from the central-back pocket player. I think that was Biles. They've got it up to half, or to the centre of the ground, where Mazzapardi with a long kick up to half forward, looking for Richards. Richards almost marked the ball, but it's Sando that pulled it away, pushed it down on the ground. An opportunity for Whedon. Whedon handballs over to Clements. Clements high up into the forward pocket for South, but this time I think it's gone out of bounds when Kane was going to take possession for Central. Throw in now with South getting an early grip on the game. 4-4 to 2 goals, kicking into a win. Down on the ground now. An opportunity for a Central player. I thought it was Kane, but it's Ramsey that finally comes away with the ball. He kicks down on the far wing, a long kick. An opportunity for Richards, but Whedon is there. Richards very nervous, went right over the top of the ball, and I think the umpire, Rogers, will have to come in and bounce.
I think Centrals are going to have to do a lot of thinking at the moment. They just don't seem to have their act together. I don't know where they're going to start. Their ball getters like Ramsey and Biles, these types of players just aren't getting into the game enough, especially Ramsey, who's on the ball, following up all opportunities. Barrett's another one for Centrals. He's just not getting into it.
Well, here was an attack initiated by Biles, got it to half forward. Balderstone has it at centre half forward. His kick looking for Carlson, and Carlson has come out in front of the young South player. I think that's young Connolly over there, the fullback for South, and Carlson, who is only about 15 to 20 yards in front of goal, or metres. Yes, that's Connolly who came into the side. And Carlson has the opportunity to get Centrals a little bit closer. He's a pretty reliable kick for goal, and he's got 6 points. So 3 straight goals for Central, and once again we find Centrals able to convert, Doug, when they go straight down to goal.
Luckily so, Harry, because they've only had it in their forward area 3 times. Carlson there in the pocket is an expert at taking those marks in the pocket, way back in the days of West Whyalla. He always get his 2 or 3 goals from resting in that pocket area. He showed a bit of experience in front of Connolly there and converted with 6 points. I don't know what's going to happen here, Harry. I think Central just can't get away from centre. Their small men aren't getting into the game. I know Central have a cross-section of players of tall and small, but it's definitely the South Wales small men that are dominating this game up to now.
Well, Doug, I think the early good start by South stemmed from the dominance at the centre by McIntyre, who did not play in the semi-final. And that's when Carlson was able to dictate the terms. Well, here's a free to South, a little bit lucky there because the ball was come up to the half-forward line for South, and I think it was going to be cleared by Keary. It's Lamshed, gets a short pass over to Bowler. Central allowing their loose man to develop here for South. Bowler's going to kick straight into the forward area, which is the intelligent play today. Oh, not a good kick. An opportunity for Reid, but he overruns the ball. Picked up by Clements. Clements loses it. Now Barrett pushes it between his legs, but to no good advantage. He'll have to work hard, Barrett, if he's going to help Centrals there. And it's still down on the ground. Azzopardi waiting for the handball, but there's a free interference to Barrett at half-back right for Central.
Speaking of big men, you say the last time these two sides met, Carlson for Central completely dominated the game as far as the big man game goes. But one chap who has come into the game today, even at this early stage, is Bowler. He was completely outclassed by Carlson last time, but this time, today, he's taken a couple of marks, he's won a couple of centre bounces, and he's also making his presence felt.
Well, there's Azzopardi kicking the ball into the half-forward line for Central, but the attack has been repelled by Sando for South. Ball coming over towards Chris Martin. Chris Martin with the bandage on the leg. He kicks to the half-forward line. There's an opportunity for Sawford, but Dignan is held, picked up by Rogan. He can't get away with it for Centrals, and I think the umpire will have to come in and bounce here. There's a fair bit of indecision, and umpire John Rogers from Adelaide. A little bit of spirit between Dignan and Sawford, and Rogers gives them time to cool down. He's going to come in and bounce with South leading 4-4 to 3 goals in the closing stages of the first quarter.
Central can thank their 3 straight goals to be kept into this game. That's probably the only place they can say has been winning, is that the straight kicking has kept them into the game.
Well, there's one of the very few holding the ball decisions in the first quarter, and this went against Sawford. He didn't have a great deal of time either. Well, there's Kane kicking over to the grandstand ring. An opportunity for Denton. The ball falls to the ground. There was some kicking in danger, but on the blind side of the umpire. But I think he's made up for it, and he's going to give a kick here to Tiller. Tiller, the left foot ruckman for Central Whyalla, goes for the long one up to half forward, and here's Whedon and Dawson. Dawson lets the ball fall down, picked up by Schwartz. He handballs out into the open, but it's Stevens that's going to repel this attack for South. He kicks it over towards Denton. Denton falls, picked up by Cox. Cox goes for the drop kick, but Dignan for Centrals is well in position, and although met by Bowler, Stephen Dignan is going to push Centrals back into the forward lines again. Here we find Dawson making the best position. This time he grips the ball as Whedon was running around in front. Dawson appeared as if he was going to play that ball on. He's gone to the lead of Balderstone, but I didn't think it was a good passage of play there. Here's an opportunity for Azzopardi. Azzopardi's pulled back, and the Centrals are going to get a kick.
I think it's Biles. Biles got the ball. He was caught when he didn't have it. Greg Biles is going back now. He's steadying himself, so he's not looking for short passes. He must be looking to put it either in the goal square. I think it's too far out for a goal. He has a slight breeze with him, but I still think it might be a little bit too far for Biles to score. We'll soon see. Coming in for the kick now. The ball's high. It's a good kick into the breeze. Good kick. Yes, he's made a fool of me, Harry. He's kicked that goal.
It's always easier to be wrong than right, Doug,
isn't it? Yes, that's true.
Well, that has really taken Central's back into the game, although they have been using the breeze. It is not to be said that goals cannot be kicked into the wind. So it's 4 goals to Central's, 4 goals to 4 to South's, and we're in the 25th minute of play. We've only got time on in the first quarter here at the Bennett Oval. Conditions are ideal for football. They're perhaps a little bit chilly for spectators and those people in the grandstand, but seeing as September, I think the Whyalla Football League and the club's concerned would be pretty happy with the setup here today. Now we see Carlson with a big knock over to Richard. Richard pushed it down to Dignan. Dignan is pulled back as he tries to get his kick. Picked up by Stevens. Stevens handballs out to Denton. Denton to Hall. Hall another handball. Here's a clash of players down on the ground, and I think the umpire Rogers must come in. And no, he's picked up a free, and it's going to go to Cox. Cox was the player underneath the pack, and as we said earlier in the game, the player going down after the ball is getting plenty of protection. Good mark to Rogan, but he didn't play it. Kicked along the ground. An opportunity now for Guider loses the ball. Biles. Oh, I think he fell forward there, Doug. We were in the better position to see, but he's got the ball. Guider again to the centre half forward. Here's Dignan and
Gray. Stanton went for that one then. Should have held it, Harry, but he dropped it, and crucial marks being dropped in the final. They could cost you goals.
Well, that was a poor clearing kick by Stephen Dignan, and it found Cox. He kicks up into the half-forward line where 2 Central players go up, and it's Dignan. I thought Dignan marked that one. He'll be a cross boy after the last few minutes of play, and there's a free. Is it going? Or no, is it going to be a bounce, Dave?
I don't know, I can't understand that one. I thought Dignan also marked it. He's sort of showing his response, his disappointment towards the umpire. Unless he called play on, it was touched in transit, I'm not sure.
Well, Centrals might pay dearly for that little bit of disagreement with the umpire, because they lost their positions, and that was an easy pass out to Mark Dignan. Mark Dignan's gone for a long shot right up in front of goal, and it's been pushed through for a point. So that makes the score 4 goals, 4 to South, 4 goals to Central, and we're in the 2nd minute of time on, with South attacking into the wind. The kick to be taken by Kane. Not a very good one. It's going to bounce, make it awkward for Darren Flew, but he's got the trap of it. Goes over to Carey. No, decides for the long kick up to Whedon and Dawson. Dawson going to be tackled by Whedon, but he's able to handball back into the vacant area. But here's a clearance by Connolly. Connolly drops the ball, picked up by Whedon. Whedon goes for the short pass into the centre of the ground. A little bit too far for Clements. An opportunity for Ramsey, who's been very quiet. Throws the ball in the air. Kicked along the ground by Denton for South Whyalla, and they look as if they're going to ease the problem here. There's a push in the back to Clements. He handballs quickly over to Denton, to Sando, and South into the centre of the ground. But here we find that Carey, starting to show his better form, gets the ball over to Stanton. Stanton can't clear. Kicks it along the ground. I think it's going to go over on the far side, and this will make the score 4-4 to 4 goals, and I don't think there's much more to go in this first quarter.
It's definitely been South's quarter, Harry. Even though there's 4 points of difference, Centrals have had the breeze. They should be probably well in front in this at this stage. When I say well in front, at least 2 or 3 goals.
Well, here's a kick to Stephen Carlson in the ruck position. The ruck throw in, I thought he stays a little bit, and that has upset McIntyre. McIntyre had a word to umpire Hannon. Almost brought a 15-metre, but here's a kick by Carlson up towards Dawson, but down on the ground an opportunity for Ramsey, but he's been sat upon. Handballs out to Richards. Richards with the left footer up to the full forward area, and it's gone over quite a few players. Here's an opportunity for Biles. He'll have to snap. Oh, he breaks the tackle. No, went too long, and it's a point only.
That was a good tackle by Cox then.
I think you can understand Biles running on. He was trying to square up the goal.
That's right. Yes, there's a very sharp angle there for us to kick it, so he tried to break the tackle and run straight into the teeth of goals.
South's looking for Denton over in the pocket, but he's pushed, and the ball is also pushed out of bounds by Flew. Almost 30 minutes up in the first quarter, with South leading 4-4 to 4 goals 1. McIntyre up with Flew. Flew gets the front position, pushes it down, looking for a rover that wasn't there. Whedon's going to clear for South, goes for the short kick, but it's not been intercepted by Richards, and it's going to go out of bounds. I think the players are starting to feel the effects of a fairly fast first quarter.
To be expected. Everyone's fit at this stage, and as I said, it's a fast and furious game. Body clashes galore, which is also expected in the first quarter of a final. I think you'll find next quarter, and especially the third, things could quieten down a bit and we'll get down to some better brand of football.
Ramsey coming through with a handball over to Dignan, but the siren goes. A good first quarter, a good fight back by Centrals in the last 10 minutes when South threatened to build up a big lead. 4 goals, 4 to South, 4 goals, 1 to Central. Dignan's going to be a bit of a problem if they get that ball down the air.
There you go.
And away they go in the second quarter, and South immediately into attack with Hall. The Rover grabbing the ball, gets it up to the half-forward line. Jasper Reid overran the ball for Central Whyalla, and this has allowed Dignan to come in and pass back to Hall, and Hall is shot for goal. I think he's, not Hall, it's Cox, the wingman, and South immediately into action, and they go 5-5 to 4 goals, 1. The Centrals are playing nervously, Doug. To see Jasper Reid overrun that ball when in a position to clear.
It's not like Reid. And also the Centrals are falling down at centre. South got that away with the knockout. One kick away from there, and the next shot was for goal. They just must get that ball away from centre. South are doing this and consequently getting the score on the board. Umpire
Hannon to bounce with Carlson in opposition to McIntyre. And South's leading 5-5 to 4-1. And Carlson gets the knockdown. Comes down towards Richards. Richards drops the ball. Opportunity for South. Whedon gets the handball out to Hall. Hall gets the left hand over but can't get away. Or there's a tackle on Biles. Biles handball high into the air. And it's Azapati, the captain for Central Whyalla, has kicked it up towards Dawson, but he's going to be sat upon, but the umpire is going to pay it. It was a long time that ball coming down. Dawson looking for the lead. Balderston over in the pocket, but Balderston now goes into the full forward area. A lead by Darren Flue's been ignored. There's a short pass looking for Balderstone, and after a lot of running around, Centrals have been able to further their attack. He's a long way out. I don't think he can get it from here. Balderstone, the forward pocket player for Central Whyalla. They badly need a goal at this stage. And it's a good kick, and it's going to go right through. Well, there's nothing wrong with the kicking for goal here today, Doug.
No, we can't complain of that, Harry. We thought he was too far out, too kicking to that slight breeze, but it was a beautiful kick of 6 points, which was his first goal for Balderstone.
Perhaps the breeze may not be as apparent out there as it is in the grandstand.
Maybe it's not, Harry. Just looking at the AMP socket, it's a little bit limp at the moment, and it may have dropped just temporarily, but I'm sure it'll come up again.
Ball back at centre, and this time it is, yes, it's still Hannon to bounce down with Carlson, who got the last knock. Carlson again pushes the ball over to Richards. Richards again drops the ball. Oh, that was weak play on the part of Chris Richards. Had plenty of opportunity to handball it and threw it. Kick to be taken by Stevens. Stevens at half-back for Souths. Kicks it down to the half-forward line. Opportunity for Sawford. Sawford a handball over to Luber. Luber kicks into the full-forward area. There's Dignan going and got away from Reid. And Dignan in the pocket. He'll probably have a shot. He's a good shot for goal. And Souths leading 5-5 to 5 goals, 1.
Good football then from South. Sawford that handball over.
He's a little bit off target, and it's a point only, so that was a let-off for Centrals. 5-6 to South, and Centrals to 5-1. That was disappointing on the part of Centrals. They didn't get the ball through half-forward when a good knock by Carlson.
No, Richard just threw that ball away. I don't know what he had in mind in there, but unless he thought he had his back to the umpire.
Well, the kick out now, a good mark by bowler number 13 for South, and he's going to push the red and blues right up into the full forward area again. Up it goes, bounce down, and there's an interference there, and who's going to get it? South, I think, is it?
Yes, I think Biles pushed young Allison then, and he's only about 25 metres out from goal.
Right in front. Richard Allison, as I said earlier, he was dropped for a lack of form in the semi-final, but it often pays with the young lads to jolt their situation, and he's come back and doing well today. That kick's going to be a goal, yes. Souths go to 6 goals, 6 to Central's 5 goals, 1.
Well, what can one say? South have just completely dominated this game. Their shots are on the board. They've had 12 shots to Central 6, which means they've had twice as much play, especially in the scoring area, even though they're only 1 goal 5 ahead.
Perhaps the surprising part, Doug, is that the Central defence was reportedly, and I thought so, the strongest part of their make-up.
Well, looking at the percentage for the year in the minor round, they were definitely on top regarding having points kicked against them. They were the lowest scoring back line.
Hayden Swartz for Central Whyalla gets the pass right over the half-forward line, marked by Mark Dignan out in front of Denton. Not Mark Dignan, Stephen Dignan. Stephen Dignan passes into the centre half forward. It's rather coincidental here. We've got the Dignan brothers both playing in the full forward area for their respective sides. Steve Dignan, number 37 for Central Whyalla, and Mark Dignan, 45. Well, there's a nice shot into the full forward area, but it's a little bit off target, and it's a point only to Central. But it keeps them in the game. 5 goals 2 to 6 goals 6. Some fast leads out here down on the grandstand ring. Whedon and also Sando. Sando in the right position, but almost a mark by Richards. Richards can't get into the play. Picked up by Whedon. Whedon looks over the shoulder, goes for the left foot kick down on the half-forward line. Kane comes through, overruns the ball, but fortunately for Centrals, it's Stanton. Stanton held the ball. A little bit unlucky there, Stanton, doing his best to retrieve the situation for Central, and caught holding the ball. There's a pass by Luba and a good lead by Allison. Allison was tempted to pass on to Clements, but then thought otherwise, and now he's going to centre this ball right into the full forward area, with South continuing to attack in this game. Playing well. Good shot, and it's going to be a goal. 7-6 to 5 goals 2.
We've got a game on here today, Harry. Central's got a game on their hands at the moment.
They certainly have, Doug.
No one would have tipped South to win today. I know we've got a long way to go, but if early prediction or early form is going to show what the trend's going to be for the rest of the day, Centrals are in big trouble. They've had 13 shots now. They have 7 goals 6 to 5 goals 2. That's a 2 goal 4 lead, and they've got the breeze. South have got the breeze with behind them this quarter, so they should go out. They should be in front well at half time.
Advantage of 16 points, 5 minutes into the second quarter. Bounced down by umpire Rogers from Adelaide. Comes towards McIntyre, but Swartz goes over the top, taps it over towards Barrett. Barrett gets the ball up to Biles. Biles now going to send this ball right in the full forward area, but they'll have to fly. It's all South at the moment. Down on the ground, picked up by Tiller. Tiller has a shot for goal, and it's going to bounce the wrong side for Central, and it's a point only. So that's 7-6 to 5 goals 2. South's making the quick lead over here. It's Sando. Got the ball from Chris Martin. Tiller was a little bit too slow. Sando plays along the grandstand wing. Here's an opportunity for Luba, but it's going to bounce in front of him. Bounces to Stanton, and Stanton breaks through the pack. Goes for the left footer. Up looking for Dawson. Dawson out in front of Whedon, and a good mark this time to Peter Dawson. He goes for the short pass, looking for Richards. Richards marks well, plays on, going to have a shot for goal, but it's gone across and hit the point post, so it's out of bounds. I thought if Richards had kicked that, it would have done an immense amount of good for his confidence, but it wasn't to be, and it's out of bounds today.
Yes, they hit the point post on the full, which is out of bounds on the full.
That's right, yeah, that's an interesting aspect. Kick to be taken by Robert Denton, the vice-captain for South Whyalla, number 5. Up on the top side of the oval, goes for the short run, looking for Stevens, but it's bounced down in front of Stevens, and the ball has gone out of bounds. So it's going to be thrown in on the far side, with South still leading comfortably, 7-6 to 5 goals 3. Darren Flew in the front position, tries to tap it down to Stephen Dignan, but he loses the ball, and the ball is down on the ground again now, and it's going to be a bounce up. There's a message going out for the South runner. That'll be interesting. Throw in now. McIntyre knocks it down, but it's picked up by Flew. Flew goes for the left footer, going over to John Tiller. He can't mark it. An opportunity now for Richard Pearce for South, the back pocket player. Kicks into Tiller, and Tiller forces the ball out of bounds in the pocket, only about 10 or 15 yards from the Central goal line. Throw in with Central trying desperately to get a goal to bring them within touch. Tapped over by Flew, gone in ruck. Here's a player, Ramsey breaks away, shoots for goal, a left footer, and it's a point only. Ramsey's been relatively quiet, one of Whyalla's most valuable footballers. Can't get into the game, and there's a point to Centrals, and it takes them up, Doug, to about 5 goals. We'll wait for this to come on the board. South 7-6. Kick over to Sando. Sando falls. An opportunity now for Schwartz. He can't break clear. Met from behind by Connolly. Taken in by Sando. Handballs over to Whedon. Whedon goes for the short pass. Again looking for Luber, and this time Luber's out in front of Stanton, giving Stanton a fair bit of worry on that half-forward line. Over to Guider. Guider's a little bit too quick for Carey. Handballs to Hall. Hall plays up to Lamshed. Too far. Opportunity for DeCane to come through for Central Whyalla. Kicks into the centre of the ground, but a good mark by Guider, number 26 for South. Going to play the ball into the full forward area. High in the air. Reed up now, trying to get in front of Dignan. Down, picked up by Salford. No. Yes, he does. He handballs over to Cox. Cox runs into trouble. Pulled back by Ramsey. Now Biles handballs over to Barrett. Barrett up into the half-forward line to Dawson. Dawson can't get it because Whedon went in front of him. Here's a clearance by Denton for South Whyalla, kicking over to an empty half-back line. Sando's got the run of it. Incoming for Barrett. Barrett's been shepherded out by Hall. The ball played up to Clements. Clements goes for the short kick into the full forward area. Bowling opportunity. Kane. Reed is there for Central. Picked up nicely by Grace Dan. Handballs a long one to Jasper Reed. He's going to try and dodge. He may be caught holding the ball. No, they allow the play on. There's a player met from behind. That's Lamshed in the pocket for South. And they continue to mount the pressure on Central, leading 7-6 to 5-4.
It's great football here today. The crowd should be pleasing with this, no matter who you barrack for. It's a good game, and the scores are reasonably close. It's a long way to go, so we're going to have a real great final here today at Whyalla.
A pass by Lamshed into the centre of the ground, looking for Dignan. Down and picked up there by the big fellow, Allison. He's tackled Biles from behind, and Biles, the little wingman, doing a lot of work for Central Whyalla at centre half back when he's the wingman. He's going to... well, he doesn't know what he's going to do. It's a fairly crowded centre line. Nobody up on the top. He comes over to the grandstand. Here's Carlson going up with McIntyre. McIntyre punches the ball away. Stanton's got it. Handballs back to Azzopardi. The captain for Central gets the run of the ball into the centre of the ground. Here's an opportunity for Barrett. Barrett plays on. Dawson tells him to kick the ball further down. Barrett running down the half-forward flank right up to the full forward. An opportunity for Flew, and he brings down a nice mark in front of Connolly. If only Centrals can get that ball into the full forward area, I think they've got the players, but the struggle is getting it over half-forward, Doug. Well,
Barrett just proved the ability he has got. He broke away from that mark then, bounced it twice and kicked a good pass to Flew. Flew has the shot now in the pocket on a very strong angle. He's going for a check side too. It's a good kick. He has kicked it. It was a check side goal from Flew then. And that takes Centrals to 6 goals for. They trail South 7-6, 10 minutes into the second quarter. That was Flew's second goal. He's about 6'1", 6'2", very good in the air and very good kick. I'd like to venture at this stage that if Centrals are going to get back into the game, Doug, it's got to be through Barrett at centre, because it's not a windy day and most of the players up and down the centre. But Barrett is a player that, to me, he likes to do things the easy way, not the hard way, and there's only one way in a grand final. So he's got to change his attitude to play if he's going to succeed. Here's an opportunity now for Centrals. They're trying to get it through Ramsey. Ramsey picked it up now. McIntyre. Richards trying to throw it out to somebody who's not there. Now it's eventually Lamshed who gets the ball over to Stevens. Stevens, a good pass to Salford out on the half-forward line. Goes for the short one, looking for Cox. Cox falls, but he's out in front of Biles. My word, those wingmen are covering a lot of ground over there. Biles and his immediate opponent, Greg Cox. Leads from everywhere, but Cox decides on the long one. Right in the full forward area. Kane in position for Central Whyalla. Almost marked it. Picked up by Bowler. Down on the ground, and here's a scramble right in front of the goal, and I think umpire Hannon will take the opportunity to bounce. 7-6 to South, 6 goals for to Central Whyalla. The Whyalla Grand Final, and it's a pretty even one. Tap down to Hall. Hall can't get a good kick in. An opportunity for Bowler. He's been pulled from behind. A lucky one for South. And when I say it's lucky, not that he didn't deserve it, but anybody that gets a kick about 15 yards out from a goal, it's lucky for a team. It can be, Harry. Well, the umpire must play it, and he's paid it accordingly. It's good football here, very good football. Both sides desperate to get the score on the board. South to retain their lead, and of course Central are desperate to get back into this game. Bowler shot straight across goals.
Almost out of bounds. Well, that's a kick which often comes from a ruckman, Doug.
True, Harry.
Kick to be taken by Carey. Looks for the short lead, looking for Carlson, but it's gone astray. My word, Carlson's having a lot of trouble with McIntyre today. Picked up by Luber. Luber is caught by Ramsey. They play on, down on the ground. An opportunity for Bowler. Pushes it out to Cox. Cox bat heavily by Ramsey, and Cox is going to get the kick in the centre-half forward position. That's one thing the umpires are paying the interferences today and rewarding the players that are going in after the ball. Kick by Cox at centre-half forward. He's going to go long, driving punt kick right down to the full forward area. Dignan's there, but strong mark by Carey. Number 40, the former West Adelaide seconds player, and he's going to kick this out into the pocket. Out towards Carlson, gone a bit short. Here's an opportunity for Carlson to run forward and out-sprint McIntyre. He goes for the short one over to Azzopardi, but Azzopardi's been met from behind by Clements, but they play on, thrown out by Lamshire. Down on the ground now, the ball's just going around like a ping-pong ball, but eventually it's Stevens at handballs, looking for Sando. Sando's been caught by Barrett. An opportunity now, I think he'll be penalised. No, it's in the back. Well, there it is, Doug. There's very few holding the balls, but plenty of interference kicks.
Yes, there is. I think that's just the desperation of the game at the moment. Stupid freeze from both sides, not warranted. The chap hasn't got the ball, let him go.
Well, and another scramble, and umpire Hannon's going to come in and bounce just on the left of centre-half forward for South. They're leading 7-6 to 6-4. We're at the 15-minute mark in the second quarter. The ruckman, we got Carlson up in opposition to McIntyre, punched down, but Lamshire's waiting for it for South, kicks high in the air, over towards Dignan, came out on a long speculative lead into the centre of the ground, a chance for Allison, and he takes it off hands, handballs over to Bowler. Here's a goal coming up for South, and they go 8-6 to 6 goals for.
So there's a bit of an interference after kick that ball then, Harry. I was just waiting for the umpire to see what he's to do. I know it's very rare that we see a chap having another shot, 2 goals kicked before it goes back to centre. The umpire did hesitate, but he gave his all clear and just gave Bowler the 1 goal. Well, he was left alone in the goal square then, Harry. You talk about ruckman shooting for goal. He couldn't have missed from that angle. He's about 2 feet out, straight in front.
Yes, they won't remember the one he's missed. They'll remember the one that goes in the score sheet. 8-6 to 6 goals for 15 minutes into the second quarter, and South continuing to play consistently and well. It was about this stage in the semi-final that Central's got on top. South have been doing well, but today Centrals don't show any indication that they're going to make a similar comeback.
From experience, Harry, off watching our Centrals each week and listening to John Inglis, the coach, talk, I find that once he gets into them at half-time, they seem to come out a completely different side in the third quarter, and most of their games this year have been won from the third quarter onslaught. Well, can they do it again today?
Well, here's Ramsey at the centre, kicking it up towards the pocket, but South, it's all South down on the ground. They didn't get it. Schwartz has gone for the pass over to Balderstone. Balderstone has marked it about 35 yards out in front. Well, you're getting a little bit of inside information from Doug Spears from the Central Club room of what takes place at half-time. Doug coached and captained Centrals for 6 years, so he's got the licence to go in there, and perhaps we'll know it in the third quarter. That kick is veered away, but it's a goal, and a badly needed one by Central, and takes them to 7-4. They trail 8-6. Now, some of these players are only getting a few kicks, but they're doing everything right with it. Now, Balderstone would have had 3 kicks for 2 goals, Doug.
Exactly, Harry, yes. At the moment, they're going goal for goal. Both sides. South get the score on the board, but Central come back in a matter of moments and keeps the scores within a small margin of each other.
Well, here's Luber came off, the South captain came off, and Lawson, the youngster who did quite well in the semi-final against Waruna, has come on the half-forward line. Bounce down, Flew gets it over towards Dignan. Dignan a little bit slow, that's Stephen Dignan, up into a very empty half-forward line. An opportunity there for Pearce to come through. He loses the ball. Ramsey trying to get to him from behind. Stevens picks it up, throws it out to Denton, but it's gone astray, and the ball is down on the ground now. Biles and also Schwartz. Schwartz kicks up towards the empty pocket line, and it's Carlson. Carlson goes for the handball, but a poor one, taken in by Whedon. Whedon out in front of Dawson, and his kick is not a very good one, and it's gone out of bounds. It may have gone out on the full. No, it's going to be a throw-in, with Central's trying to come back here in the 16 minutes of the second quarter. 7-4 to 8-6 they trail. Down on the ground, and here's a player trying to break away, but no, it's Bowler to get the kick just as Hall was coming into the centre of the ground. Bowler was interfered with at the throw-in. Going to kick into some set positions here. Guider out in front of Carey, but Carey spoiled down off hands. He's going to pay Guider, I think, for interference by a little bit trivial today, I think, some of the frees in the air, Doug.
Yes, well, I suppose umpire can only pay them as he sees them. I didn't see that particular one, Harry, so I can't comment on it.
I thought both players were in the air, but still, if he's consistent, that's the main thing. There's, in the centre of the ground, Hall, the rover for South Whyalla, kicks to the centre half forward. Dignan is met, but they play on. Opportunity for Barrett. Barrett looking for territory, pulled to the ground. They play on. South coming into it again. Bowler throws it out towards Sawford. Sawford to Cox. Cox gets a long kick into the full forward area. Here's Guidra away from Reid. Now that's surprising that Reid is on Guidra into the centre of the ground, and here's a good mark by Dignan, a very timely one. Dignan not playing anywhere near his best. He was really dominant in the semi-final, but he's going to play up on the top flank. Stephen Dignan for Central Whyalla. A high kick up towards Carey. That's the player they're playing on, down off hands. There's a player at Biles tried to get away with it. Kicked it high in the air to half forward. Greg Biles. That was Darren Biles in the back pocket. Greg Biles, his brother. Running plenty of territory. Too far. You could see the umpire getting the whistle to the mouth there, and there was no reason why Biles. I think he was looking for the lead more than breaking away from the player, Doug.
Well, he broke away from the player. Had his chance to kick the ball. He either had his chance to kick it or bounce it. He didn't either, and of course he just ran the ball too far.
Kicked by Cox into the centre of the ground. Azzopardi had a quiet day over to Dignan, coming from behind half back into the centre of the ground. Barrett takes a good mark, no, drops it, picked up by Lampshed. He's tackled by Barrett, pushed into the centre of the ground. Hall drops it, met by Azzopardi, having to work hard. Sando coming around here with the left footer down to the full forward, into the half forward area, and it's marked by Jasper Reid out in front of Dignan. My word, the full-backs and the full forwards are covering a lot of ground,
aren't they? And coming a long way out, Dignan.
Yeah, Reid into the centre of the ground. Stephen Dignan starting to work harder. Got the ball at centre half back. They've got a hole, South, in the last 5 minutes of this quarter. Dignan into the centre, but it's Denton in the front position, pulls down a good mark. The ball dropped short, and Dignan was the was the first to realise it. Denton at centre, looking for the lead, but it's high in the air, coming over towards Stephen Dignan and Carey. Carey taps it down, can't get it. Here's an opportunity for Sawford. He goes for the handball, high in the air, and it's a good one. Gone over to Cox, the wingman, down, and Dignan's down there with him too. Dignan's going to pick it up. The ball pulled away from him. Here's an opportunity for Allison. Snaps for the goal. I think he got a point, and that takes South to 8 goals 7 to 7 goals 4.
That was Allison's, he's kicked 3 goals, Allison. He had a good chance to make it 4. He's the young lad that came back into the side from showing a lack of form. But he's definitely shown his presence felt there with 3 goals at this stage.
Over to the top wing. I thought they were going to come out to Bowler and Flew, but no, they're concentrating on Carey, and Carey had to work his body in to get into that one. I would have been surprised if he'd lost it with a free, but he's outmarked Guidra, and he's now going to centre this ball up onto the top wing. Who have they got up there? Azzopardi. Azzopardi drops the ball down on the ground. That was Ramsey. South coming back again. Stevens playing a valuable game on the half-forward flank. Has plenty of time. Kicks into the full-forward area. There's McIntyre. Almost pulled it down. One hand picked up by Lawson, and Lawson has goal. That's the lad that came on and placed a Luba. He sharked that ball off the packs and made no mistake with his shot. So South break away again now to 9 goals 7 to 7 goals 4. 22 minutes into the second quarter.
Central's coach Inglis has made a change. He brought Tiller off and put Bernardi on. Bernardi onto the half-forward flank onto Sando. Bernardi's a running player. It's something what Centrals need desperately at the moment. People that will use their legs and run. Especially in this breeze, he's got the legs to run it right up there to the goals. In fact, when Bernardi does come on, he quite often gets a couple of goals.
Well, I think Centrals have got to get the ball away from centre to him. Now there's Flew with a knockdown, and it is coming over. Picked up by Azzopardi. Azzopardi's going to go straight down the field. He goes for the short pass to Balderstone, but it went too high. This has allowed Denton the run of the ball. Number 5. He's going to be supported by Pearce. Denton's kick up to the top flank. Bounces away from Cox. Taken in by Biles, but he tries to play on. Lost the ball. Pearce has got it there. I know Biles is going to get a free. It's so far away and he's so small, but he plays on. He's lucky to break clear. Goes for the left footer up to the full forward area. Here's Dawson waiting for it. Puts the long arms out, but drops it. Now for Balderstone. Balderstone, if he can handball this out to Bernardi, and Bernardi snapped, Doug. He's done it.
Well, Harry, I think he carried out the job he's put on for. He's very quick around the goals, very elusive, and there he is. He's been on, 2 or 3 minutes, and his first goal on the board already.
And this is young Miss Spears we got alongside us, is it?
Oh, yes, he's just come over to see what's going on.
Right, 9-7 to 8-4 with that goal by Bernardi from a pocket. He came over to play the right half forward flank, but that's the way the forwards move around these days. Anywhere within the half of the ground. Bounce down. Who we got in ruck here? Bowler in opposition to Flew. Young Darren Flew's been doing a strong job in the centre of the ground. This time the ball bounces to Bowler, who's tapped it over to Stevens. Stevens kicks it to an empty central area. Here's Azzopardi and Lawson. He tackles Lawson, picked up by Bernardi. He's got a second chance. Pushed over to Hall. Hall handballs to Lamshard. Lamshard's met from behind, but a good following up by Lawson, who's done well in the few minutes he's been on. He tries to get it up to McIntyre, but Reid is going to come through for no, his pass nullified his intention, and it's Lawson again into the centre of the ground. Flew in position. Dawson Sawford came through and spoiled Flew, and I think we'll have to have a bounce down. The ball's been thrown out to umpire Hannon. 8-4, Central's trailing South 9-7, and we've got about 5 minutes remaining in this quarter. Tap down to Richards. Richards kicks into the centre ground, a wild one, almost taken by Bowler. He fell over it. He could be caught holding the ball. No, they play it on to Sando. Sando handballs down to Lawson. Lawson handballs back to Lamshard. He's got plenty of time. Goes looking for the centre of the ground. Back to Lawson. Lawson handballs to Clements. Clements goes for the short ones. Finds Sando. My Souths are following the ball up well. They get it down to Hall. Hall's going to shoot into the pocket. There's Dignan waiting well out in front of Darryl Biles, and Dignan's going to steady the play up. Well, it was all South, Doug, then. All
on the loose too. I don't know where the Central players are. They're hanging behind. They're reluctant to go after the ball, and they're showing a lack of legs at the moment.
Now Richard Allison has come across from the forward pocket, and he's now going to have a shot for goal within distance, but on a bit of an angle. 9-7 to 8-4, and he's got 3 goals now, is it? Yeah, 3 goals, and he could bring up his 4th. No, he's gone offside, and it's 9-8 to 8 goals for. We're coming up to the time on period. Well, the stage is set for a very entertaining second half, Doug.
It should be, Harry. Yes, it is. South fell down the last time they met in the third quarter. I'm sure Doug Gregory won't let that go again.
Kane out to Carey. Carey almost caught holding the ball over to Flew. Flew handballs up to Rogan, who's had very few kicks. He comes up the centre of the ground. A good mark by Dignan. Beng held on, but there's no 15-yard. Now it's coming. Been held by Den, but that was a professional 15-yard.
Yes, I'll just make the same comment, Harry, because South didn't have any players down there in any great numbers. Their Rucks and Rovers are well behind, but now they're up there now. Here we've got contending. We've got Dawson and Whedon again. It's Dawson in front.
A good mark by Dawson, because he had to wait a long time, and there was a lot of jostling. He kicks over looking for Balderstone. Balderstone overruns the ball. An opportunity for Azzopardi. Runs into an open goal, but a poor shot. Here's another one coming up, though, and it's Barrett. Off hands, and the Centrals come right back into this game. 9-4 to 9 goals 8.
That was the lucky one then. Azzopardi went for the shot for goal, kicked straight into the man, straight into the South man, and the ball bounced back straight into Barrett's hands, picked it up and put it through for 6 points.
Well, Doug, if you went back through the play in the first half, you'd find that Centrals have converted from the least number of opportunities.
Yes, the conversion rate is a lot greater. They've had 13 shots, going by the board I should say. They've probably only had it in their forward area about 16 or 17 times. Barrett starting to show a little bit of force into this game. One player they do need to get in the game is Ramsey. He's been very quiet at this stage this half, and Ramsey, to show an influence on the game, must get into it.
Well, I've always regarded Ramsey as a second half player. When the game slows up a bit, he'll dictate his terms. There's a knockdown towards the half forward line. Opportunity for Lawson. He misses the ball. Gray Stanton overruns it for Central Whyalla, and down on the ground now, and it's going to be a bounce down with Azzopardi, who has been working pretty strongly there in the last 10 minutes or quarter of an hour for Central Whyalla. He realises the perils for his team at the moment. There's Flew up, and he gets it over to Barrett. Down to Azzopardi now. The experienced players coming in. Azzopardi to the centre of the ground. There's an opportunity for Whedon. The ball was pushed down by Central's Steve Dignan over to the half forward flank. Sawford's got it. Handballs to Cox. Cox well out in front of Greg Biles. Kicks into the full forward area. There's Mark Dignan and Reid. Off hands picked up by Allison. Allison's going to shoot, and it's a goal. You could tell by Steve Bowler on the goal line that it was a goal. And this has taken South now to a 10-point lead coming towards half-time. 10-8 to 9 goals 4.
That was Allison's 4th goal. He's got height over Biles, who's the back pocket player for Centrals, and yet strange enough, it's not necessarily in the air that Allison's been winning the ball. He's elusive, he's fast, and he's getting out, and he's getting that ball, and he's converting.
It was rather ironic there how that goal came about, the foundation of it, because it was Dignan that, for Centrals, who pushed the ball out of a pack on the half-back line, and it was all South from then on. They took the ball and down on their half-forward flank. Now, here's an opportunity for a South player. He's been pulled from behind, that Glamshed at centre, and it's another drive coming up. He sees a short lead over here. It's Dignan up in front, but the ball's down on the ground, picked up by Azzopardi, over to Barrett. Barrett's got plenty of time to pick it up, but he's going to be sat upon by Sando. Down on the ground. Oh, it's all South. Picked up by Lawson. He's got nowhere to go, but he does. Oh, good play by the junior. Handballed it out to Clements. Clements into the centre of the ground. From behind Biles. Came from behind of Carey and de Guidra. Down on the ground, over towards Azzopardi. He slips. Pushed away by Sando. Down to Clements, number 9. Stanton goes in. Picked up by Lawson. Handballs over to Hall. Hall with the left foot right into the full forward area, or a half forward area. Almost marked by Guidra. There's Cox. Pulled from behind, but it's up into the full forward area where Jasper Reed's got the opportunity. He's going to let it go through for a point. Well, the pressure's continually on Centrals.
Souths are in front because of a team effort. Centrals at the moment can't get their act together as a team. They're relying on a few individuals, but South's good players are all over the ground at the moment.
And there's Carey. I think he's interfered with the South player, but it's allowed to go on. Punched down to, is Tiller back here? Is it Rogan? No, Rogan. Kicked along the ground to Stephen Dignan. He's caught. Pushes the ball out in front of him. He's got the opportunity to play on. He'll handball over. No, he's going to go for the long kick into the full forward area. They're looking for Bernardi. Bernardi, oh, he had that ball taken off the top of his hands. It's over there, Dawson now, and South are going to come away through Connolly. Connolly kicks up to the full forward, to the wing area, and a good mark by Darren Flew. Darren Flew wearing the helmet. He was out for a long time with a fractured cheekbone, but he's come back strongly now. Down to the half forward line. Here's Biles. Oh, he drops the ball. He's caught from behind and almost got caught holding the ball. He's coming in it again, but somebody, young Swartz, got in front of him, and umpire Rogers has come in to bounce. Getting pretty cold here, 10-9 to 9-4, right on the 30-minute mark. There wouldn't, I don't think there'll be another scoring in this quarter, Dave.
No, I think the clock should beat us. The question to be asked at the moment is that the South's running players, will they have the legs in the second half?
Here's Bernardi taking too long, gets a handball to Swartz. Oh, that was bad. They sat upon Swartz. Marked by Azzopardi, a little bit lucky. That was short. Azzopardi in two minds whether to play out over to Richards, then decides time's not on their side, and there's a long kick by Azzopardi up into the full forward area. Carlson waiting. Oh, knocked down by Dawson, and the Souths are going to end up to half-time at 10-9 to 9-4, and when we come back we'll find that
they're well on the way of winning this game, Central.
Away they go in the third quarter. Big knock by Carlson, taken in by Swartz, but he drops the ball and has interfered with Stevens, the South ruck rover, number 17. He plays it up to half forward, but it's not a very good kick. It comes to the way of Carey. Carey's able to come down the centre of the ground. The big fella puts a long kick up to the full forward area, almost marked by Whedon, pushed away by Dawson. He can't get into the clear. Down to Bernardi, but intercepted by Denton. Denton handballs, and here South coming away through the agency of Whedon up to the top flank. Mark, oh no, he dropped it, Lubar, but he's quick enough to gain possession again, and a nice pass finds Hall, the South rover, number 10. He kicks towards the full forward area. Here's an opportunity for Kane, and he showed great anticipation. Comes through, and a long driving kick into the full forward area, half forward area, almost marked by Dignan. Off hands to Sando. Sando plays up the top flank where there's plenty of South. Lubar handballs over to Hall. Hall looking for young Dignan. Dignan gets it. Handballs to Clements. Clements coming around on the left foot up to the full forward pocket where Bowler, and he outmarks Jasper Reed. Good positioning by the lanky lad. He goes into the centre of the ground for Sawford, but the ball's been punched away by Rogan, but South are in it in numbers. They push Rogan well out of it. Here's the handball to Luba. Luba handballs over to Cox. Cox the wingman. He's caught with the ball. He'll go for holding it. No. And they've allowed Biles to come away. Playing brilliantly for Centrals at the moment. Kick kicks up, and it's marked in the centre of the ground by Tony Barrett, number 6 for Central Whyalla. One of the good players when he's on his day. He kicks into the half-forward line. There's a chance for Dawson. He punches it away, but it's been taken in by Chris Martin for South. Plays it quietly into the centre of the ground, almost marked by McIntyre, but South are able to retrieve through Hall. He gets it down to the half-forward line, where it's going to, or up to the wing, where it's going to go out of bounds. Sawford in a good tussle there, number 21, the young junior, with number 7, John Rogan for Central Whyalla. Throw in, McIntyre in the front position. Over the top goes Carlson, down on the ground, picked up by Cox. He'd been pulled down, and we must have another bounce. Bounce down with the score 10-9 to 9 for the half-time score. South leading in the grand final. Bounce down by umpire Hannon. Both umpires doing a good job today. Carlson pushes, trying to find Ramsey, but it's Hall in intercept, pushes it down on the ground, picked up by Sawford. He's able to run away, gets a nice pass into Allison. Allison handballs over to Lamson. Lamson's going to have a shot for goal. It's curling in. Up they go, and it's inside, I think. A good goal to Lamshed. Good system by South. They go 11-9 to 9 goals 4.
For the half-time break, both coaches would have got in their players. Doug Gregory for South would have said, we're in here with a chance. We're in front. We're going into half-time in front. We can do it again, and I'm sure that he's lifted his players accordingly. On the other hand, John English, coach for Centrals, he's told his players, we're not quite into this game yet. Our big guns aren't firing. Until we get our act together, because this game could slip away from us. So I'm sure both sides, all players are very, very keyed up at the moment for this second half. And South, like the first quarter, are leading the way.
Bounce down now with Carlson in opposition to the, and he goes over the top of McIntyre, handballed out by Ramsey, but he didn't get it to Stephen Dignan. He soccers off the ground looking for Flew. Flew misjudges the ball. Down on the ground now, and an opportunity for Flew to come back. Handballs over to Ramsey. Ramsey goes for the short pass, a shocking one, looking for Barrett, and it's been intercepted by Wayne Clements for South Whyalla. He passes over to young Pearce. Pearce has got plenty of room. Goes for the short one, coming up into the centre of the ground. Chris Martin, but he's making a bit of a fumble of it, loses it, and now it's Central's Swartz. Kicks up towards Dawson. Dawson takes a good mark. No, he lost it. That's rather surprising, wasn't it? Yeah, Whedon playing on. He drops it. My word, they're just as nervous in this quarter, Doug, as in the first quarter. Here's Biles coming in, going over towards Richards. Richards, he dropped it too. Chance there for Balderstone. He's got every opportunity. Kicks into the man right in front of goal. Here's Barrett showing his experience. Kicks around, but Sando's in position for South and takes a nice falling mark. Well, there, you thought you were watching the under-14s, Doug.
It's rugged football at the moment, Harry. A lot of mistakes are made. A lot of the pressure's there. As I said, the coaches on both sides have really got their players keyed up for the second half, and because of it, it's close, tight football.
Well, Souths are working the ball out of the defence now. It's McIntyre takes a kick in front of the goal line, plays it over towards Connolly. Connolly can't get away with it. Picked up by Whedon. He's got plenty of time to handball. Then he decides to kick into the centre of the ground where Cox and, my word, they've had a stirring duel. Cox and Biles, both in the best players for their team. It's Guidera who outmarks Carey at centre half forward for South. And he's got Cox there. Cox follows on, but too far. In comes Jasper Reid. Jasper Reid pulls that kick back a bit, and it's almost marked by Biles. Biles is finding it tough against two opponents there. Desperate football. There's South coming in through Lamshed. Up to Allison. No, it isn't. It's Dignan. Dignan's got the chance to come through on the left foot. Goes over the centre of the ground. It's Hall. South well in front of their players at the moment. Plenty of panic on for Centrals. Over to Luber. Luber marks clearly out in front of Kane. As a party comes down to relieve. They go now to Clements. Clements coming down from the wing, and the Souths have got players to burn over there. He's about 45 yards out on an angle, and I would say that South will be very hard to beat if they got a goal here, leading 11-9 to 9 goals 4. There's the kick. It might fall short, is it? No, it's gone through. And it's South 12-9 to 9 goals 4. Well, trouble plenty for Centrals, Doug.
Well, I can only repeat myself, Harry, but the first quarter, the first 10 minutes, South dominated the game. They've done exactly the same in this quarter, kicking into the breeze. They've shown all the ascendancies for moving that ball and keeping it low and looking for the loose man. At the moment, Central back line don't know where they're at. They're letting too many people go loose. They've had to leave their men to chase men, and I'm sure whether the Central Rucks and Rovers, the mobile unit, are falling down, could be the reason, but I think they've just got too much legs at the moment, South.
Bouncing down in 5 minutes into the third quarter, and again Cox has got the opportunity for South, but he can't get away with it. Now Denton pushes the ball down to the ground. Dignan, a short pass, but it's gone astray. Clements comes in and takes it away from Azapati. There's down on the ground again. Now Azapati comes back into the play with a left footer high into the air. They're looking for Darren Flew, but he's been out positioned. Here's a chance for Balderstone, comes through and misses it, I think. Did he? No, a left footer. What did it look like from you?
No, it's a goal, Harry. It's a lot closer than what we, I think, anticipated from here.
Yeah, well, there's a quick reply by Centrals, and each side has how many goals since half-time? Is it Central's first goal? Yes. South 12-9 to 10 goals 4.
Who kicked that last goal for South, Harry, up here?
That was Clements. Yeah, right. Coming back to the wing here, Cox is covering a terrible lot of ground and is making it very hard for Biles. Biles is still doing well, but I noticed a fit of desperation there a few moments ago when Biles came in between two South players. He was heavily outnumbered and his reserves were pretty low.
That's the difference between the two sides at the moment. South have got players helping, they've got their legs running up there, they've got backing up players all the time, whereas Central seem to have to fight their own battle all on their own. They're just not combining it as a team at the moment, but South are doing it to the extremes.
South have got the chance here now. No, picked up by Barrett. Barrett just sinks the ball into the half-forward line, coming over towards Balderstone. But here's a good interception there by Connolly, the young lad. He kicks high into the air, coming over to Cox. Cox out in front of Biles this time. My word, they've had a great battle. Kicked looking for Hall. Hall, the former Glenelg player. Pretty solid rover. Swartz on the mark. Kicks up to the half-forward line. An opportunity there for Carey. Carey slipped. Picked up by Sawford. Over to the full forward area. And Stanton. Stanton loses the ball. Picked up by Bowler. He handballs to Guydra. Guydra kicks into the man. Picked up again by Bowler. No, he doesn't. Kane comes in. He's able to break away. Doing a good job there, the angle number 18 for Central. Over to Azapati. He hasn't had a good day. The ball starting to elude him. Now he comes back into it as they push Sando out. Handball over to Barrett. Barrett kicks a high one up into the full forward area, but I think Martin's in position for South Whyalla, and he marks out in front of Balderstone. I can't help but think that Centrals will be better off bringing Girdham on, Doug. They seem short in the forward lines.
Yes, they seem desperate actually in the forward lines at the moment. They need someone up there who can take command, be elusive, get out on their own, so they've given them someone to kick to. At the moment now they're just blazing away in the air, hoping for the high marks.
That's right.
Just not coming up at the moment.
Well, Carlson tried to push that ball away from McIntyre. McIntyre was caught with the ball, but picked up in defence by Blamshed. He gets it over to Sando. Sando's going to try and get past. He does a nice handball over to Lamshed again. Up to the half-forward line. Carey on it. Nearly a good mark to Guider over the top of Carey, but Souths are still in it. It's picked up by Cox. Handball to Luba. Luba with a short one to Dignan. Dignan drops the ball, but still in possession. A left footer, and it's a goal. I thought it must have been, because Allison was in position to take that ball and he pulled away quickly, and Souths continue to dominate this game in the third quarter. 8 minutes into the third quarter and they lead 13-9 to 10 goals 4.
South have really got their act together. You can see the combination there of Hall, Cox, Luba, Sawford. They're all moving. When one gets the ball, the next one seems to be there to back him up. But yet Central's looking desperate at the moment. They're just playing desperation football that's not quite coming off.
I think before we get too critical of Central, I don't think I've seen South play as well as they are at the moment. Right down to the centre, and it's a scramble. And it's going to be a bounce by umpire Rogers. Now South are playing systematic and real team football. A poor bounce. Barrett's got it, but he did nothing with it. Come away McIntyre for South. A poor kick. A chance for Luba. Luba pace. Handballs onto Guydra. Guidra's caught. Handballs in the air to Allison. Allison's got a chance to handball to Sawford. Sawford handballs to Bowler. A goal. And South are running away with it at the moment. 14-9 to 10 goals 4. And there seems to be a bit of a skirmish at the goal mouth, but that would be through disappointment rather than anything else.
As I said a moment ago, I think frustration's coming in on the into the Central's game. They're desperate to try and win the ball. They're desperate to try and get some team game going, and because they're not pursuing this and succeeding in it, they're becoming frustrated with it. Now they're starting to be pushy and look for little arguments and I think a little bit of sympathy.
Doug, I think the time is well past for Centrals to make a few positional changes, particularly at centre. I'd take Barrett away from there and leave Ramsey, put Barrett up on the forward lines. He was very feeble when he was caught with that ball a few moments ago.
Yes, it was a blind handball, and it went to no. In fact, it went straight to McIntyre.
That's right. A bounce down there, Carlson underneath the ball. Punch down on the ground. Hall showing plenty of determination. Gets the ball over to McIntyre, and South come in again. Rogan can't get the ball. Chance, he bends down. He's doing nothing with the ball. Richards comes out with it. Handballs wildly to Biles. Biles has got to work hard. Bumped away by Cox. Comes back again, Biles, with a left footer down to Denton. Denton's got the opportunity to get the ball into his lap, and he kicks into the centre of the ground, and Azzopardi takes a strong mark. Out of the play a lot, Azzopardi. I wouldn't say he's been beaten continually, but he hasn't been in the play. Here's the kick into the half-forward line, and an opportunity for Whedon. Whedon gets down close, caught with the ball around the neck, when an opportunity for Flew to get holding the ball. And Dignan again shows his resentment. This lad, it's a failing on his part, and he's penalised the side at a very critical period. Kick by Clements to the centre half-forward position. Guide has been spoiled, but he passes it down to Hall. Handballs over to Lamshed. Lamshed to an empty half-forward line. Dignan well away from full forward. Kicks one up to Sorford. Sorford falls on the ground, but he's able to handball back to Dignan. Dignan's got to pick it up. Two Central players come in. They both come in, and I think they almost pushed him down to the ground, and South could have been a little bit unlucky there, Dave.
Yes, it was actually. Again, it's frustration coming into the Central side.
I noticed that Dignan is coming out to the half-forward line after the ball. This is Mark Dignan, and Allison is dropping back to full forward. Pushed down by Bowler to Hall, but they're going to have to break this pack up again. Umpire Rogers with the score 49-10, 12 minutes into the third quarter, and the difference now is 29 points in favour of South, the challengers. Carlson goes up over the top of Bowler, no freeze, thrown out by Ramsey, over to Biles. Biles with the left footer, inside half forward. There's Dawson setting himself, but there's plenty in after the ball, down on the ground to Bernardi, but he's taken that much time to get Sando out of it. He couldn't get the ball himself, and it's into the pocket now. Connolly can't pick it up. Now he does. Handballs it in the air, picked up by Whedon. Whedon throws it around the corner. Down on the ground, an opportunity for Dignan. Dignan dodges past Martin. He kicks it right into the full forward area, but it's all South. I think that Clements pushes it down to Luba. Luba handballs to Whedon. Whedon up to the centre of the ground, where we find Carlson in a strong position, and Centrals have got to come back. He handballs over to Carey. Carey will go for the driving kick up into the pocket there, looking for Barrett. Barrett is spoiled by Sando. An opportunity for Bernardi. He's taken a long time to get down to the ground. Pull from behind, and he's going to get a free.
Indirect football from Centrals. They went straight from the centre, straight out to the scoreboard area. Negative football as far as I'm concerned.
Bernardi about 50 yards out, a long way, but Centrals are finding a lot of trouble when they get the ball in the air. They'll have to rely on Dawson, but this time it's down on the ground. All South Lamshed, and the cluster develops again, and it must be a bounce at 14-9-10-4. Well, the stage has arrived now when South can play negative football, Dave.
Well, South, they've got to be lifting in confidence now, because they've got a good lead, they're playing good football, they're backing each other up, and as their confidence gets higher, they must be demoralising Centrals.
Well, there's the handball out of defence by Stevens over to Denton, over to Sando. Sando goes up at the top wing looking for Hall. Hall and Stanton, and the ball has gone out of bounds. Well, Stanton needed to bring that ball back.
Should be pointed out to the viewers too that Centrals do have the breeze in this quarter, and it has come up again. It's probably the strongest it's been all day.
Bowler gets it down to Luba. Luba's pulled back, but he's able to drive the ball in the centre of the ground. There's those two good players. Biles, he pushes Cox out this time, and comes down through centre half forward. Handballs over to Barrett. Barrett runs too far, goes for the short kick, and it's been intercepted by Whedon. I thought if Barrett had got the right foot there, he'd get a little longer drive into goal.
Yes. Again, it's good pressure from South. They forced him onto his left leg, which of course he couldn't get the distance.
A mark in the pocket by Chris Martin, played out by Whedon. He coming up looking for Cox. There's Biles in. Cox, oh, lovely mark over the top of Biles. been playing really well, this former Rapina rover, and Wigman, he's got the cramp. Greg Cox on the half-back line, going to the player coming up for the handball. No, he goes for the kick, coming in the centre of the ground. Oh, it was a big cluster down on the ground, and the ball has gone out of bounds. Well, there wasn't much chance of anyone marking in that pack. 14-9 to 10-5. South well in command halfway through the third quarter. Throw in with Carlson getting in front of bowler, but he punches the air. This allows Denton to come through. He throws it up in the air for Sawford. Sawford's pulled from behind. There's no holding the ball today. Over to Denton. Denton follows up, goes for the short pass to Bowler. Bowler's got plenty of time now to send this ball in the full forward area, and up they go. It's marked by McIntyre. Got out in front of Jasper Reid on an angle, only about 10 to 15 yards.
South's football at the moment is teamwork plus.
Yeah.
Every time a person gets into trouble, they've got someone there to back them up, the handball's out, and the play's on.
McIntyre in the right, full forward. He comes around off the mark, they play on, and it's going to be a point only. 14 goals 10 to 10 goals 5, and the margin has
That one went out on the full, Harry.
Did it?
That one, yes, in the end.
Oh, well, that's 1 point less that Centrals have to chase at this stage. Kane has been doing a lot of work in the full back line. Going to kick out now over the mark of Allison, coming out to Carlson and also to Bowler, but Bowler takes a good mark over Carlson. Carlson, I understand, had an injury during the week, and it may be playing up. Here's a pass to number 1 Norton. They've brought on this lad that's kicked 61 goals, so they've got a luxury at the moment.
Yes, Carlson is playing as if he's had an injury. He's not the same player from a fortnight ago where he completely dominated the ruck duels in this game between Central and South.
Here's Jasper Reid throwing the ball out of a pack on the ground, picked up by Flew. Flew's tagged, but he's able to kick into the region of Azapati. Azapati's been beaten for the ball by Clements. Clements back to the full forward area, and I think his kick may have gone out of bounds. Yes, the kick to be taken by Darryl Biles in defence for Central Whyalla. In the earlier game, that was won by South second, so they're heading for the double, Doug.
Yes, it looks at the moment.
There's a kick in defence. Oh, and Flew tried to play on, lucky to be able to get the ball down to Stevens. Oh no, he's going to give him another opportunity. Well, that's a bit fortunate. Possibly thought the player grabbed him too quickly. Up to the half-forward line, where almost a mark to Dawson. They play on Ramsey along the ground. Coming over to... there's a Central player there. Is that Gurdon on the field there now, or is it Bernardi?
No, that's
Schwartz.
Bernardi and Schwartz.
Bernardi and Schwartz struggling, but they can't do anything with it. Now it's left to Biles. Biles bursting through a pack, loses it. Stevens has got it. No, Bernardi out to Barrett. Now Barrett's got to work hard with 3 South players attacking him. Barrett comes over too high for Balderstone, and a good mark in defence by Chris Martin. Chris Martin playing on, comes over to Richard Pearce. Richard, what's happening here?
15-yard penalty for something, Harry.
Taking the play back to Martin, who got a 15-yard. Well, that was a little bit questionable because Souths were in possession. Kicked up to Lamshed. Lamshed wandering away from centre, but doing it well. Plays along the wing. A nice drop kick for Sawford. Underneath is Brogan for Central Whyalla. He's kicking to the centre of the ground. He's they're beaten for numbers here, Central. It's Dawson. No, Dawson I thought was coming in, but Denton whipped in front of him. Played it quietly out. They're playing with precision to Allison. Allison looking for Lawson. Lawson marks over the top of Biles from behind. No, it's the new player in Norton. Norton looking for a lead. Decides to kick high. McIntyre's there. No, down on the ground, and the Luber's going to be fast. The ball bounces for him, picked it up and kicked it through for a goal. No, it's a point. Must have been touched as it went off the boot. So that was a let-off for Centrals.
Not only South's teamwork great at the moment, but also when Centrals do get the ball, the attack on the play with the ball by South is incredible. They're just grabbing it at their first moment. The Centrals become frustrated. The ball drops to the ground, or they just handball to no one. So not only are they playing well when South have got the ball, but their attack on the player with the ball is also of the utmost...
Well, over on the top flank, Doug's really in strife here, trying to hide his disappointment and give us a real reason why Centrals are not going well. But they're being well beaten at the moment, so I don't think there's anybody can offer excuses. A throw in here, and I don't say that Doug is doing that, but he's trying to find the reasons for it. A throw in on the top flank at 14-10 to 10-5 with South in command into the centre of the ground, picked up by Flew. Flew been in the play a lot. Handballs to Stanton. Stanton can only get a kick high in the air. Over there to Biles. Biles working hard with Bernardi. Bernardi's brought to the ground. Couldn't break clear. Picked up by Lambshed, number 6 for South. Time to steady. Come back to the centre of the ground. A handball to Stevens. Stevens goes for a rather good lengthy kick to Bowler. Bowler underneath the ball and Mark Strong. He's much improved today, Bowler.
Very much improved. He was frustrating, very frustrated 2 weeks ago when they met Centrals in the preliminary final, but today he seemed to be dominating the air and as well as the ruck jewels.
Well, Souths are going forward again through Hall, number 10. Got it over to Allison. Allison's been interfered with by Dignan, and there's an advance free. No, he's bringing it back to... we'll just work out what's going to happen here. Hannon is pointing over, and he's going to give the free in the pocket to Guidra. Well, that's a long 15-metre, Doug.
No, FAD, I think it was. Harry, he's played the ball where it landed.
Where it landed, well, that'll be correct. Now, Guidra well in kicking lanes, and there it is, another goal. And we're starting to pull the curtains down here at the Bennett Oval. 15-10 to 10 goals 5. And Centrals have been attacking with a breeze in this quarter. What was their score at half-time, Doug? 9-4, was it? So I think they've only added 1 goal 4. Well,
that's interesting, Harry. That was Geiger's first goal for the match, centre half forward.
He's done a good job on centre half forward.
He has done a good job because Carey hasn't dominated back there where he has normally been doing this year. In fact, I think all South players are dominating. Very hard to pick some of their worst players.
It'll be hard to pick out their best player trophies, won't it?
That's right. What a wonderful position to be in.
Ramsey's caught with the ball, but he's able to handball it or hand it over to Schwartz. A kick by Azapati from the half-forward line looking for Carlson, but he's been spoiled by the fullback Connolly. Down on the ground, and it's Richards underneath a pack of players, and the umpire must come in and bounce it. Over the scoreboard, 15-10 to 10 goals 5. And it's a throw-in in the central area.
History could be repeating itself, Harry. As I said before the game started, West completely took Centrals by surprise last year and went on to win the flag. Are South repeating history again today?
Well, it certainly looks that way, and Centrals will certainly approach all future finals with a lot of intrepidation, Doug.
Exactly.
Coming away now, South through Lambshed. They're running loosely over to Sando up to the top. No, his kick has been fouled, but Lambshed's quick enough to bend down, handball it back to Sando. Sando's caught with the ball pushed in the back, and we'll get a free on the top flank. There's been a lot of frees today and very few holding the ball, and this is where Souths have gained the most because they've been faster the ball and in position.
Yes, they have been in position to get all the frees. I think it's just their approach to the game has been very confident, whereas Centrals is frustration. When you get frustrated, you give away frees.
Now South still passing it from one to the other, Clements and Lambshed, and they get the ball right inside of half forward where Dignan went up with Jasper Reed, and they both were successful in pushing the ball over the boundary line.
There's a change, Harry, as Biles is off and Neil Girdham's on, although we're taking a back pocket player off to put on a half-forward flank. I don't know what the change...
As far as Girdham's concerned, Doug, I'll be straight here. I think he's come on 2.5 quarters too late.
Yes, possibly 2. So I think he's going out to the forward area, which means we've got who in the back pocket? Chris Richards.
Throw in now on the top flank, picked up by Hall. Goes for a short kicker, goes astray, marked in defence by Stan. Looking for a lead in the centre of the ground, there's none. He kicks over to Girdham. Girdham falls to the ground, picked up by Denton, fumbles the ball. Now Dignan went in from behind. Lucky the free didn't go against him, but the umpire is caught up and has given Denton a free. Denton passes it over to Lambshed, always on the loose. He's beaten Barrett counter time and time again, and the Souths running wild in the forward lines. It's Dignan, a short pass over to Allison. He's spoiled by Flew, playing a big game. Picked up by Lambshed, over to Dignan. Dignan handballs back to Allison. Allison's going to shoot into goal, but this time it's out of bounds on the full. But South's can afford that at this stage. 15-10 to 10-5 on the 25-minute mark in the third term.
The million time on period, and Centrals with the breeze are 5 goals 5 behind.
Richards to take the kick out in the back pocket, high in the air. Carey trying to get position off the back of the pack, and the Carey has a free, or is it Schwartz? We'll wait on the judge here. That's Schwartz, no Carey. I think he got that for trying, Doug.
Could be too, Harry, yes.
Kick to be taken by Carey in defence. A high one. Ramsey's underneath it, but there's plenty coming from behind. Push down Ramsey. No Central Rovers there. Hall took it. Passed it up to the half-forward line. Carey spoiled Guidra. Bowler come through. Picked up by Carey. Handball to Stanton. Stanton's got to come down to the bottom wing. His left foot down inside half-forward. Oh, there's a bit of work going there. Bernardi was pushed out by Sando. Taken in by Connolly, is it? No. We'll pick up that play in a moment. Whedon at Pearce. Pearce to the centre of the ground, and a good mark by Bowler, playing the game of his life. Bowler in front of Flew. Short pass, but a bit too short, picked up by Dignan. Dignan handballs to Sawford. Sawford's fighting for the ball close to the boundary line, and it's going to be a throw in, but it's 15-10, 10-5. 35 points in front. And the big job to do for Centrals. Flew working hard with Bowler. Bowler pushes it down to Sawford. Sawford's caught with the ball, but the umpire must bounce. He didn't have any opportunity. Big crowd expecting a close finish. It hasn't come about yet, and there's no indication of it. Picked up by Dignan. Handballs to Sawford. Sawford's got the run of it. Plays into the centre of the ground. There's Guider and Carey. Carey almost marked it. Did a good job to push it down to Richards. Richards lost it. Norton, the interchange players. Handballs back to McIntyre. McIntyre to the dangerous Luba. Luba sets himself, and there's a goal coming on the board. And South got this premiership in the bag. 16-10 to 10 goals, 5. 26 minutes. And if ever a team deserved to win a premiership on their display this afternoon, it's South.
No one can deny that, Harry. It was in the time-on period now, and they go to 6 goals, 5 in front. I don't know what Central are going to do to get back into this game. The confidence of South is just lifting higher and higher. Their small men are completely dominating the game. Even their big man, young man in bowler, is taking everything that comes his way in the air. They've got the cross-section of both fast players and winning big players.
We've got to the stage now that Souths are playing so well that everyone must look to be a good player, and it's easy to do well when your team's winning by 5 goals. So this is a big contract, and here's Hall through half forward. Got time to bounce once or twice, sets himself, goes for the short pass to Dignan. Dignan must have the measles, I think. No one wants to go near him, and Mark Dignan has kicked the goal, and South goes 17-10 to 10-5.
Well, the crowd are on their toes now, Harry. There's a real game on Central's hands at the moment.
Particularly the South crowd.
Yes, particularly for South. We just can't seem to find up here as commentating this game where Central can get back into this game. There's just no player that will take command or trying to take command from the game. It just seems a frustrated effort from all of them.
Doug, on the performance this afternoon and the way the premiership's going to go, I think the playing of minor rounds as an indication who's going to win the final is useless.
Well, it seems to be in this league, and especially in the last 2 years. Still a long way. Well, let's not be too premature, even though it doesn't look good for the red and whites. This quarter's nearly finished. Even though Central haven't got the breeze in the last quarter, who knows?
Right. It's a bounce down just on the central side of centre. We find Bowler and Flew doing a big job, Flew. Handball now to Bowler. Bowler handballs to Lamshett. Lamshett over to Allison. Allison's caught with the ball, but able to get it over to Lamshett. Back to Allison. Allison throws the ball out to the fella on the ground. I think that's Bowler, and they must have a bounce. No, he's going to give a holding the ball. Well, you can put those down, Doug, because I would say we've had about 5 holding the ball today.
Hasn't been a lot.
Kicked by Ramsey, one of the quiet players in the central lineup. Ramsey at centre half.
He's not on his own either today, Harry, is he?
No, he's kicked over to Schwartz with the left foot. Over at half forward, but they're at ragged display there, Centrals. It's Bernardi going to bend, but he's going to be tackled by Sando. He's able to turn around, kicks it high. This will make him work hard. Good mark in defence by Denton, playing one of his better games, number 5, the South vice-captain. He's got plenty of opportunity here. He kicks it high. Clements, good mark in front of Barrett.
Yes, Barrett.
I don't know whether Barrett's playing on the half-forward line. It could be. He could have been chipped it away from centre, Doug. Now, as a party with the left footer, across half-forward. But it's a tough one on Balderstone. Balderstone's been hit by a tank, and he's been caught holding the ball. Well, he certainly was thudded to the ground, and a kick in defence by Stevens. A short pass. He can take his choice from 2 players. There's the quarter. 17-10 to 10-5. Doug, let's go back to half-time. What was the score at half-time? Coming up now for the final quarter in the 84 Whyalla Football League season, and South seemingly heading for a premiership, leading 17-10 to 10-5. South have got the ball down on their half-forward line, picked up by Lamshed, who's been a good player, gets it down towards Jasper Reed. He fights desperately on the ground. Picked out by South. Luba's got it now, shoots for goal, and he's well off the target. I think he's out of bounds, and that is 17-10 to 10 goals, 5. South's...
he's kicked a point, Harry.
Has he? We're not picking those two. I'll have to brain the post for that one, Doug. The viewers cannot see it, but it was there. 17-11 to 10-5. Kick to be taken by Ben Kane, who's done most of the kicking out today, with Jasper Reed so intent on shadowing Mark Dignan. Played over towards Gray Stanton in the back pocket, but Centrals have got to come along this grandstand wing, and they're kicking into a win. They've gone high. They're in troubles. Hall drops the ball, picked up by Guidra. Handball's out to Dignan. Dignan's able to dodge past, caught, thrown to the ground, but it's holding the ball, taken by Carey. Been a toiler in defence, Carey. Hasn't been a clear winner, but... he's still probably one of the best players on the Central side. High in the air now, Carlson and McIntyre. McIntyre again spoils Carlson. Handball by Schwartz coming over, but it's wild. Picked up by Sando. Sando into the centre of the ground. There's a chance for Luba to Allison. Allison handballs to Sawford. He's caught with the ball. He'd go for holding the ball. There's a change in the interpretations at the moment. Played up by Rogan. Looking for Carey. Carey's been spoiled. An opportunity for Allison. Allison handballs to Sawford. Sawford's caught, but he handballs to Luba. Luba goes in. The captain goes again. 18-11 to 10-5, and if ever they looked a good side, it was today.
Well, they started off this quarter the same they start off every quarter, Harry. They got the ball away from centre, taken down into the forward lines, and consequently scored.
The backup players, it was in evidence again.
They've been there all day, South's backup players. A wonderful team effort. As I said, they've got their tails in the air, and Centrals have got their tails between their legs.
It's got to a stage now where the South players have got a choice of two players who they play onto.
That's right.
Back to centre now. Carlson up in opposition to McIntyre. McIntyre has foiled Carlson at most of the knocks and at the throw-ins too. Played down to Ramsey. Ramsey caught with the ball, drops it. There's an opportunity for a South player, and I think he's met from behind, going to get a play. Showed plenty of desperation, the type of football that was young Sawford. I think he's hurt. Is it Hall? No, Hall coming away with an injured shoulder. But he'll have a lot of... Not to thank for in his exhibition this afternoon. It'll be a compensation, the result of the match, but he appears hurt badly. Up to the full forward area. Bowler off hands going towards the goal mouth, and I think Kane will put it through for a point. He seems in a fair bit of pain, Andy.
Yes, he's come straight off, Harry. I should say he is injured, and he's not even hesitating. I suppose with the lead they've got, they don't really need him out there now.
Well, South are not going to lose anything when they bring on Cox, who's been one of their better players. Greg Bowles won't be too pleased to know that Cox has come back.
No.
Getting a round of applause, the player.
Quite deservedly so too.
They'll all get it later on. Throw in now on the half-forward flank for South Whyalla. No, it's a bounce down. Carlson plays it down to the player Ramsey. Ramsey handballs over to Rogan. Rogan up to the centre of the ground. An opportunity for Barrett, but he's not trying hard enough. Down on the ground to Dignan. Dignan handballs up to Dawson. Dawson plays a short one to Barrett. Barrett plays it back to Dawson. Dawson up to the full forward area, but the cluster go down on the ground, and this is where we find South outnumbering Centrals. Picked up by Luba. Handballs over to Sando. Sando into the centre of the ground to Lamshed. Lamshed can play it over quietly to Cox. Cox moving into the full forward area there now. What's he going to do? Shoots high, and out in front is Norton. Norton is met from behind by Richards. He'll get one from the back. No, it's holding the ball. Kick by Richards in defence. Looking for a lead. No, going to go high, looking for Carlson. But I think McIntyre's in the right position. Off hands to Allison. Allison plays it back, looking for Sawford, but Sawford can't beat the ball and is going out of bounds. A throw in the scoreboard area, 18-12 to 10-5. They played 5 minutes in the second term.
Some of these players, I've seen them play their best game to date. Dignan for South is probably his best I've ever seen him play. This young Allison in the pocket's got 4 goals. He's done his share. these chaps and his bowler going for the ball, he's played probably one of the best games I've seen him play also. So at the moment, South have got all good players and very few passengers.
There's Mark Dignan, met from behind, plays it down on the ground, and down they go. Is it going to be a bounce down? No, the ball getting over the boundary line. I think too the same could be said about the captain, Paddy Luber. I don't think I've seen a more creative performance this year than Pat Luber. He's played the ball into the forward lines, he's kicked the goals, and he's made a lot of opportunities.
Has played a wonderful captain's game.
Here's a kick by Lamshed, is it? No, it's young Norton shooting for goal. I think it's going to bounce through. A bit of jostling there by... we'll wait to see.
No, I think that was Lamshed, I think, kicked that.
Yes, it was Norton that was doing the good work in the goal line with Kane. So it's 19-12 to 10-5.
What can a person say, Harry? South are just going further and further away in this game, and deservedly so. It's a wonderful team effort. The frustration is shown in Central's game at the moment. When they get the ball, they can't do the right thing with it, and even their approach to getting the ball is very frustrating too, and because it is, they're giving away too many frees.
Well, the best they can hope for is to put up a good performance in the last quarter, but they just can't do that at the moment. Ramsey can't break away. He falls to the ground with the ball, and the umpire there at the moment, umpire Rogers, is going to bounce it. Ramsey could be hurt, no. Well, you're looking there, viewers, into the centre of the ground, and Ramsey is laying on his back. He's been hit in the head. Somebody must have walked on him. There was that many in the pack, and the play's going to be held up for a few moments. He's coming to the ground, and umpire Rogers... Well, it's a bit unusual for the play to be held up for this particular reason. I've noticed that umpires are getting more merciful these days, Doug.
Yes, when a person does show a sign of a bad injury, I think it's only decent, especially if it's in the area where the game is.
Well, he's okay again now.
Yeah, right.
He's picked up the ball from the centre, but it's gone up to the half-forward line. Come back from South. Cox has got it. Being sat upon by Stanton. Here's this player, Swartz, is it?
No, Kane.
Kane coming from the back pocket, but the kick has been pushed back into attack by Clements. Clements running around Kane. Goes for the pass. Finds Lamshed on his own. Lamshed's got three players to choose from. Takes Luber. Luber can handball on to Allison. Allison will set for goal, and there's a well off target. We'll wait on that one. It's a point. 19-13 to 10-5 on the runaway continues.
That passenger play then just proved the point about how loose South are at the moment. He had plenty of time to shoot that goal, young Allison. Took his time, but still missed.
One thing that Barrett's not doing at centre is watching Lamshed.
No, Lamshed's had dozens of kicks.
He's been waiting for the ball to be played in. Allison in command at centre half forward. Outmarks Ramsey. Richard Allison, who early in the year was selected as one of the two for the country team. Over into the pocket, played down to Dignan. Dignan's caught with the ball, pushes it over to Stevens, but a bit too late, and we get another holding the ball. The kick to be taken by Jasper Reid, and they're playing on, are they? What's happened here, Doug? It's a little hard to understand.
Looks like Biles must have had the free and played on, and Dignan tackled him, so I don't know.
I thought it might have been
didn't even think he went back behind the mark.
Anyhow, that's a long time ago now, and a good mark in defence by Whedon, number 11 for South. Into the centre of the ground, too far for Luber. Here's Carlson coming through, punches over to Azzopardi. Azzopardi goes for the short one, looking for Girdham. Girdham's in position. Markswell going to play it further on to Bernardi. No, yes, he decides second choice to go for the long one. Girdham coming down to the square, marked by Dawson, right on the line. I think he'll have to pay that, Doug.
Yes, that's a mark.
Dawson, the centre half forward for Central Whyalla. He's been one of the best players during the year. He's been under a cloud in recent weeks with a hamstring injury. Hasn't shown out today, but this goes for forwards, whether they're fit or not. When a team is losing, their opportunities are very scarce. But this one is gone across the goals. We studied the attitude there of the goal umpire, and you could read that there was no score registered, and the kicker will be taken in the back pocket by Chris Martin. Chris Martin going to look for someone down the half-forward line. Sando out in front of Girdham. Number 11 and 23, we got Dawson and Whedon. Whedon directing it to the boundary line, high. Whedon in front of Dawson. Dawson goes up high. Whedon outmarks him. Handballs on to Sando into the centre of the ground. Here's Kane trying to anticipate the ball. A little bit unlucky. Lampshed been very dominant at centre. I don't think he tried to pick it up then. I just socketed it along to Allison. Allison goes for the handball to Sawford. Sawford's been caught, but he didn't have much opportunity. They were sweating from behind. No, well, that's quite right. He's come back and given a free to Sawford. Young 17-year-old junior who's made a good impression in his first season. A long kick for goal. It's a goal. 19-13 and 10-5. Are they going to add again? It's 20 goals. There's a Doug Go of the 19.
I think it's 20, Harry.
20-13 to 10-5. Central since half-time have added 1 goal 4, while South in a dominating second half have gone from 10-9 to 20-13. So that's 10 goals 4. So they've kicked 10 goals to 1. You wouldn't have believed it.
Also, it's interesting to see that South have 10 goal scorers in their side. So I'll give you an idea of how the players been spread out, a lot of players. 10 goal scorers. Back
to the centre of the ground. Luba trying to get possession. Coming up towards Dignan. Dignan throws it out to Azzopardi. Comes through half forward to Barrett. Barrett's got the chance to kick right into the goal line area, but I think young Connolly's going to mark for South Whyalla. A little bit too far for Darren Flute. Connolly plays out to Clements. Clements on the lead. Got Sando running down here towards the grandstands. Barrett's with him, but it's a short pass into the centre of the ground to Lampshed. That's Barrett's man. There's a little bit puzzling Barrett trailing into the pocket. Here's a big job now, but it's Guidra. Guidra's had the ball fisted to him. Goes for the long punt kick, and once again, 21 goals 13, 10-5.
There's an onslaught here, Harry. There's no doubts about that, and I'm sure Central have no hope of getting back into this game at all. There's just no one is going to take the bull by the horn to instigate a revival, and in fact I think it's almost impossible to happen anyway.
Well, there's a lot of glory for the South supporters. The best they could have hoped for was a win. I don't think in their wildest dreams, even the most optimistic one, could have imagined that they were going to win in such a brilliant fashion and by at least 11 goals.
No, well, before the game, Harry, I just happened to ask a couple of the Central supporters were there any pints that can be placed for a bet, and there was no pints coming forth, so they weren't too strong in the betting fields as far as a friendly pint or a schooner beer goes.
Right, they must be glad that they didn't wager. Right, in the centre, Carlson. His kick up to the half-forward line. McIntyre and Dawson. Dawson outmarks McIntyre. McIntyre's done a big job, tiring a little. Dawson looking for a lead, but there's none, and he goes for the long one. Up into the air, here's Darren Flew, down on the ground. Gurdam overruns the ball. Coming out to Sando. Sando's going to come away from half-back. Plays it down on the wing. Luba's there. Marks well. Oh, no, drops it, but he'll still... brilliantly plays away. Caught. Almost holding the ball, punches the ball away onto the boundary line, and Azzopardi could not retrieve it. Well, I was going to praise Luba there, and he went to the ground, but he was still able to recover some grace by pushing the ball over the line. The throw in there by the boundary umpire. Oh, there's Carlson trying to get the Oscar, I think. Down on the ground, overrun by Barrett, thrown out by Cox to Sando. Played a good game on the half-back line in the centre, playing possession football. Over to Clements. Clements bounces the ball, plays on, kicks to the full forward area, and it's going to roll through, I think. Another goal, 22. My gee, they're hammering the nails in the coffin, Doug.
That ball then seemed to be going straight across the goals, heading for the point. They got a left-hand break, and I think in vain the way they're playing, they're getting the luck of the bounce too. Everything's going South way at the moment. They can't do a thing wrong. And of course, their confidence must be at an utmost high at the moment, and I'm sure there's only a matter of time. They've just got to see this game out for a South victory. Coming back to Lampshed's dominance in the centre, it again proves just how valuable a player can be if he stays in that area. In recent years, we've seen the centre players playing into the forward lines as well as trying to do their position, but Lampshed has hung around the centre and done irreparable damage to the central cause. Kicked away by Bernardi, up to the half-forward line, but Dawson can't get it. It is Azzopardi, all playing well at the moment. Over to Barrett. Barrett dodges past Denton, shoots for goal, and Flew in the front position is spoiled by Connolly, and it's a point only.
That young Connolly is one of the many players that South have brought up through the season. They've been in and out of the side, what with injuries and lack of form, but my word, they've done the right thing by the selectors today. There's the kick by Chris Martin over to Robert Denton. Robert Denton in the pocket, Durham on the mark. He's going to play it down to Big Bowler out in front of the grandstand. Bowler up in opposition to Dawson. From behind, a good mark by Stephen Carlson. Carlson handballs to Azzopardi. Azzopardi's pulled around the neck and must get an advance free, although the ball has been marked by Denton. Well, I suppose South's can afford a few of those.
Yes, I think they can smell success now, Harry. Well, 15 minutes into this last quarter.
I think they're eating it, Doug.
With a 12 goal 7 lead.
There's a good mark by Dawson. Some of the Central players who were expected to take these marks in the first part of the game are starting to do so now, but the cause is lost. Dawson, number 23 for South Whyalla, 16 minutes into the last term, 22-13 to 10-6, and there's a goal on the board to Dawson, and Central's go to 11-6. That's only their second goal since half-time, and we take it back to half-time when they were 9-4, so they've advanced to 11-6. They've kicked 2 goals 2. Meanwhile, Souths have gone from 10 goals 9 to 22 goals 13, an overpowering second half.
It's interesting to find out, Harry, that when you look at this year, they've met 4 times in the 3 times in the minor round, and South only won once, and that was by 2 points. Whereas the previous games, Central won by 11 goals, and the last game in the minor round, they won by 3 goals 3.
That's right. Yes, in the game which was here's Balderstone coming off, being replaced by Tiller. Bowler up against Carlson. Bowler taps it down to Stevens. Stevens fists the ball over to Lampshed. Lampshed's met from behind, picked up by Stanton. Tried hard on the half-back line. His left foot kick coming up to half-forward, but Whedon's out in front of Dawson. The ball down on the ground. Bernardi goes in with the head, but you don't get the ball with the head. And out came Stevens with the handball, with the pass at least, over to Rogan in defence. Took a good mark. Handballs it to Rogan, to Gray Stanton. He passed it to Carey, and now Central's showing a last lease of life. Have got the ball up into the pocket, and it's Neil Gurdam. Neil Gurdam swings around the man on the mark and goes for the long drop kick up into the full forward area. Again, Dawson out in front and marks strongly. Peter Dawson, how many goals has Dawson?
That was his first goal 2 minutes ago, Harry.
Oh, well, he's got the opportunity to bring on goal number 2 and number 12 for Central Whyalla. They trail 11-6 to 22 goals 13. Dawson taking plenty of time to some of the South ladies starting to celebrate on the right-hand side. They've been down for some Suffolk sandwiches. Now
that's typical of the way they're playing. Now Dawson's conversion rate for goals would probably be about 80%. Now, in other words, every 10 shots he go for, he kick 8. Now he missed that one. It was only about 15 metres out on a rather acute angle, but normally I think Peter Dawson would easily kick that goal.
The kick in to be taken with Central's trailing 11-7 to 22 goals 13, and this very big crowd been denied a close finish. But still, it's a grand final, and there's been plenty of walkovers here at Whyalla in the grand final.
It's whatever happens on the day. There's no doubts about it. It's happening all today.
Chris Martin. His father, a fullback for Port in the days of the Spencer Golf League. There's a bit of interference going on there, I think, although the mark was taken by Ramsey. The interference to the Central captain, Mark Azzopardi, who's continued to fight on. Half forward right. He can't put. There's a fella prostrate, a South player, in the centre of the ground. But the way Centrals are bringing this ball into goal, he won't be in any danger for a while. There's a kick out to the centre half forward, and it's been marked by Schwartz. It's Martin that's down on the ground. Oh, he's crumbled up. They'll have to get him off. I think they can play with 17 at the moment. Schwartz kicking for goal with the left foot for Centrals, and they may have another one, Doug. Raining goals for Centrals at the moment.
Well, I think it's too late for raining goals, Harry. The only rain we're going to get here is wet rain, but no, the game's over. We're at the 20-minute mark. We're trying to redeem, the red and white trying to redeem a little bit of pride in their game, coming back lately, but I think South have sensed victory, and I should say they're probably slackened off slightly.
22-13 to 12-7, and our cameras will probably take you around and show Chris Martin. He's very soon going to get the cheers of the South crowd, being taken off by the two trainers, Michael Goulet And Miller, I just forget his Christian name at the moment in the grasses. Punched down by Carlson to Stephen Dignan. Had a quiet one. Up to the half-forward line. Bounces awkward for Stanton. But Whedon's been very solid in defence. Coming through number 11. Up to the half-forward line to Guidra. Guidra had the ball taken from him by Kane. Probably the best defender for Centrals. Kicks up towards the half-forward right. Girdham going to be set on by Sando. Oh, Sando went over the top of him. Thought it was the Grand National hurdle race. And Girdham's going to get the kick inside of half-forward to Ramsey. Ramsey showing a flash. 22. Left-hand balls to Bernardi. Bernardi goes for the long one. Oh, he's been pushed over the boundary line. There's about 35 players went up for the mark there, and the umpire's found a kick to Dawson, I think, has it? We'll wait and see. We're a long way away, and the umpire's just pointing. No, it's Darren Flew, number 20 for Central Whyalla. Well, Darren's grandfather came up from Adelaide. Remember Mr. John Flew, former chairman, and his father, Brian Flew. And they no doubt would be disappointed, and very disappointed with that kick by Darren. Went across the goal line, and it's a point only.
It's only a matter of time now, just seeing this game out. It's definite victory to South. That goal by Flew, that shot for goal by Flew then missed only from about 10 metres out.
Well, I think it was a kick of a tired player because he has done a big job in ruck when Carlson was not able to show his usual superiority, and that's been brought about by McIntyre's presence today in ruck. And there's McIntyre as we talk, taking a safe mark in the centre half back position. There was no one on him. Tiller now on the mark, up to the centre half, to centre of the ground. Carey trying hard, plays forward. Oh, he's going to be sat upon by Bowler. Around the neck they play on to Bernardi. Bernardi goes for the long one, but I think we'll see McIntyre in again. No, the ball beat him out of bounds just in front of Girdham. We've got about 8 minutes to go in this quarter, Doug. 23 minutes and plus a bit of time on. There's a handball by Clements. Clements over to Whedon. Whedon up to the centre of the ground. Guidra goes up, but inside goes Carey. Carey gets it down to Steve Dignan. Steve Dignan to Mark Azzopardi. Up to the centre half forward, but it's all South. Denton, but he can't get away with the ball. Over the shoulder to John Tiller. And John Tiller, who's seen little of the play. There's a player hurt, number 28, Biles. But he's got plenty of determination. He comes up towards Dawson, and Flew's marked again. I think the umpire might have made up his mind for a free before the Flew took that. Yes, he did. And it's Dawson right in front. Centrals have dominated the game in the last 10 minutes. Stuff.
Well, Harry, I was just about to say, South have stopped, not because they're being beaten. I think they've just sensed victory. I said before, they know it's only just seeing out these last 5 minutes. They're not actually stopping to the extent they'll let Centrals kick everything, but yeah, I think they're starting to celebrate the victory already.
22-13 to 13 goals 8 with that goal from Darren Flew. And reading the goal kickers, Doug, you might go down to fill in the time while the ball is coming back.
Well, South, Brenton Lamshed, the centreman has 3, Wayne Clements 2, Stephen Bowler 2, Greg Cox 2, Russell Sawford 1, Tony Guidra 2, Paddy Luber, the captain, 2. Their leading goal kicker at the moment is Richard Allison with 4. And Centrals have got Steve Balderstone's their leading goal kicker with 3.
Well, South coming back into play again with Clements running loose at centre. Handballs it to Allison. Allison did well to retrieve from a mistake. Handballed up to Lamshed. Lamshed bounces, going to kick up to the full forward area, but Jasper Reed's up there with Guidra. Takes it off hands, Jasper Reed. Goes for the short pass, looking for Stanton. Stanton's got no one to play it onto, and till Bernardi makes a little bit of ground down on the grandstand wing, and Bernardi marks safely out in front of Bowler. Goes for the short one to Tony Barrett. Tony Barrett dodges past Sando. Goes for the short pass to Azzopardi, but they sat on him and pushed him right out of it, and this allows Whedon to come in. Tried the handball to Stevens, pushed from behind, and Mike Whedon, number 11, who's played well for 4 quarters, much improved on his previous major round games. And he's been a rocket your bowler at centre half back. He kicks it to the centre of the ground. Carey tries hard, a good mark, but he's not going to be paid it. Over the back goes Cox. And if the umpire was undecided about that mark, he